Yeah.
I just eat things. And then he makes that like noise that he's eating.
Yeah.
He always sounds like he's eating, but he's not eating anything. He's just eating his tongue.
He's eating fear
It's pretty
and
weird.
despair. He eats despair.
So I'm listening to this Cliff High guy. You know who this guy is? Cliff High.
Is that what you're sending me?
Yeah, he's like a data. It's crazy. The guy's like a linguist. He developed like some software where he basically figured out how to like. It's actually he's really into patterns and speech patterns and language patterns of like people. And
He's certainly saying things I like.
Yeah, and then he basically like. I mean, he not predicted, but he kind of like forecasted a lot of the just like big stuff. He actually said that like he said back in the beginning of January that there's going to be like a little 2 weeks from like 2 weeks in the middle of January, at the end of January is going to be like a kind of a flare up in society. So now you see this convoy stuff, and now he's saying that basically all the governments are winding all the crap down. Why? Because they already see. They sense that there's like chatter. You think they don't have AI working for them? They sense that there's like chatter that people are preparing like, virtual guillotines, as it were. So he says that like he's like even Macron doesn't want to take it to like he called it France Gulag status.
Nuts.
He goes even Macron doesn't want it to go that route. And no, and then he was saying how like basically, what he said? He's like, this whole thing with the schmacks is gonna be like a couple of years long process to where, and then it's gonna peak out or peter out, not peter out, but like it's gonna basically hit a crescendo in 2024, in terms of people realizing that like what they have in their bodies. But then he said, in terms of like initially realizing and initial reactions, like psychological reactions, he said it's gonna take like within. He said this last week. He said it's going to be within like a few weeks. It's not even going to be months. It's going to be like weeks, where people are already, they're going to be like, oh crap, like masses of people are just going to like fall on their face. They're going to just like, there's going to be anger, denial, just, and it's going to be like, and it's not going to be, they're not going to like come after us. Obviously, they're going to come after. He's like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near the elites at that time. And the elite, right. And he's like, the elites are sensing it. He's like, he bases it just off of his like, whatever algorithms he runs. Like he just, he develops some like software. And yeah, it's crazy. But he's been fairly accurate. Like in what was it, June 2001? He basically was saying how like there's like some, event coming within like months that's gonna change the foundation of like. I guess security or whatever, like national security, kind of something like that. Systems. Dude, you ever look at like your, when you buy like a plane ticket?
Wait, that's it? That you're just gonna switch?
No. If you want to keep talking,
I'm so intrigued.
No, this is related. No, this is related. I was just
all right.
What
was your question about plane tickets?
No, did you ever look at, when you buy a plane ticket, did you ever look at the actual breakdown of what's in the price? Dude, sometimes, like the actual, let's say you get a plane ticket for I don't know, $500, $600. Sometimes the actual price of the ticket is like $150, $200. Like it's basically all the BS that they tacked on as a result of 9/11. All these security fees, all these, as Jackie Mason called it, guys from Honduras who are dancing that work at the airport. The 17-year-olds, yada da yada, yada da yada. So your money's going to those people. Security, TSA fee, this fee, that fee, fee, and then so like the gas, the fuel. But
a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah, this guy was just like, if people are gonna like fall on their face now, and then we're gonna spend like the next 2 years basically just like, sifting through the rubble of the fallout of this. He basically said, like, Chas v'shalom, I don't even want to say it, but he said, he named the number, like, 30 million, stuff like that, and he's like, but that might be like an underestimation. But at the same time, he posts on his, I think on his Twitter, he posted like like a lot of remedies for, people to take, like NAC, all these kind of things that we already know about. NAC, there's like a few other things. Zinc is one of them. He posted some kind of teas. I don't know, man. It's just like what do you do? They didn't, like, no, there's no one to go to. It's like, it's okay, so like we're gonna come to these companies and say, okay, so now you did this to us, right?
Yeah.
Or like, let's say you go to the same doctor who recommended that you take this stuff, right? And you come to him and they say, what do you suggest? And it's gonna be like a thing where they're gonna have to admit, shit, like, okay, this is bad. And you come to that doctor and you're gonna say, okay, doctor, so like, what do you recommend I take? He's not gonna have an answer. No one's gonna have any fucking answers.
Robert Malone, he posted, I think, something today.
Jesus Christ.
He was saying, did you see that post from Robert Malone?
No, what did he say? Where did he post it? Oh, on the Telegram?
He's like, I think on Getter. Not on Getter, on
Telegram?
maybe on Getter.
Yeah, whatever.
He was saying something like, pretty soon, this is what you're going to hear doctors saying.
No.
Quote, I never forced you. No one forced you to take this.
What a
right?
pieces of Yeah.
That's it. I actually want to find it.
No one forced you to take it.
It was good.
Yeah. My dad's what is it? I guess not cardiologist, but like neuropathologist was like, while I was in Israel, was telling my mother to tell me to scream at, like, was screaming at me through my mother as a conduit to take this crap. And she was like, oh, you're just scared. She was saying, you're just scared to take it. You're just scared.
Crazy.
Like, she was my dad's doctor was taunting me. My dad's doctor never met me. She met me like once for like 30 seconds. Once. Down Johnny Dangerously.
Once.
Yeah.
Once.
My doctor hung me on a hook once. Once. Dude, it's like egregious malpractice, and like not even bedside manner is not even like a thought. It's not even a consideration here. It's just, I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know. It's like, I mean, if I had to go to court with for like punitive damages, it's like you hear these things and you don't even know what to say. Like a doctor says something and you're just like you're frozen. Your jaw drops and you're just like, what do I say to this? Like.
Like they used all their power and authority. That whole whatever it was, that gravitas that they used to have, right?
Yeah. No, these putzes, these bastards, they tapped into the inherent God complex that already exists with these people. They tapped into it. They're like, oh, doctors have God complex as it is. People worship them as it is. Like, let's roll. As people say, like, oh, don't you, doctors are good and this. And I said, listen, I even say I have like nothing against doctors or scientists, but these people have been weaponized. They've been turned into weapons. Like, it's like my parents' friend. They have like, this whatever, one of their kids. She works at one of the universities, and she's one of the people developing this mRNA stuff. And I'm just like, I have nothing against her personally. I just think she's being used. I think she's being used. I think she's very excited about what she's doing. It's very exciting. It's very new and exciting. And she's just running ahead of the as we say, paravoz, and off a cliff. It's just
sad, man. It's sad. I don't want to say something flippant. It's really sad.
Yeah. It's like the ultimate in like lack of just being careful.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. This is just off topic.
That's right.
thanks for Farrakhaning me, man. I really appreciate.
How did
how
I Farrakhan you?
All right, so when I was saying that Yuval and guys like him should have been stuffed in lockers, they should have been getting wedgies.
But what does that have to do with Farrakhan?
Right?
Yeah.
And then that's where you cut it off. Where I said, oh, that's what happens when you don't treat nerds the way they're supposed to be treated, right?
Okay.
And then like 10 seconds later, I was like, I'm kidding. You didn't add that part.
No, you didn't say I'm kidding. You didn't say I'm kidding. You said you said something else.
Dude. Go back to.
I will.
Go to the big episode that you put on Rumble, and you'll see it there. Okay. I can't believe you're even arguing with me about this.
Fine. Maybe I just missed it. Maybe I didn't hop. It was something that wasn't. I wanted it to end there because after that it was already a segue into some other. No, it was some other nonsense. We started talking about something else. That's why it wasn't to do with. You're kidding.
It's there.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying like. It was more to do with just the topic shift.
Although I'm not kidding by that much, like I think kind of people, like I had it pretty rough. I think most people did, in terms of like having to stick up for yourself, having a negative, being bullied is part of, there's always going to be, I'm not going to say there's always going to be a bully. I mean, I'm hoping Moshiach.
I was going to say,
bullies.
I've been thinking about this the other day. If maybe this is one issue that leftists have sort of right, where what they're trying to do is start a trend of like, the next generation is not going to bully each other. So meaning why, for example, you talk to most people, you say, well, it's okay that kids get bullied because that's the world. And when they go out to the world, and then there's bullies in the world, right? So they're going to be prepared for the world. But what if we actually change the tide of the world?
Well, obviously, no one's going to dispute that.
To not have bullies. The only problem I have is
that's not a left idea.
No. It's not a left idea. What I'm saying is no. But the idea of anti-bullying comes primarily from the left. It doesn't come from. It doesn't come the right. That doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
The right wing. No, I'm saying ultimately the right wing.
No, Greg, okay. I have to stop you. I'm sorry because everything that the left says they care about, they actually are. They have the opposite feelings for it. Okay.
Okay.
They don't care about women. They don't care about animals.
I know.
Okay. I'm a person. I don't have a title. Okay. But I'm a person who cares very much about animals. Okay. Mm-hmm. And about whether or not they're being treated cruelly. Okay. I don't want to associate myself with any movements. I just know PETA and organizations like that are clown shows that take this idea, this notion of not being cruel and trying to create a world where cruelty in general is not practiced. Most importantly to people, but also animals, right? Yeah. So they make a mockery out of that. They make sure no one can take it seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. They say they care about women, leftists, right?
Yeah.
They don't care about women at all because the places in the world where women are really being treated
they don't give a damn.
Okay? Yeah. They don't. Oh, that's culture. That's their culture. Okay? So everything they say is a lie. They're lying about everything. They don't give a damn about anything.
I know.
Black Lives Matter cares the least about black lives. No one cares less about black lives than Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Okay? All of them. It never fails. Dude, there's not a single exception. Not a single exception. Everything they say, it's always the opposite. Okay, the right wing in this country, like, I love them. Okay? The only complaint I would have is stop being such fucking pricks to animals.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, stop, like, making it seem like anybody who doesn't support, hunting and, killing, is a leftist beta boy. If you guys are just being, it feels like you're being stupid on purpose.
No, they're not being stupid. Like, they're being Asaph. Asaph was a hunter. Dude,
Asaph, dude. Hey, don't confuse who Asaph was. Asaph was slick, smart dude. He wasn't a dumb hunter.
I know, but
he was smart. He was as clever as they come.
Sure, but this is the part of Asaph that just
he hunted people. He hunted people with his mouth.
I know.
You understand, with his words.
But he also hunted. He hunted animals. That's what he did.
But the primary thing that he did was he hunted people with his words. He was able to convince them.
Yeah.
He was able, and Nimrod was also like this. Okay, so Asa was supposed to be like the antidote to Nimrod.
By the way, real quick about Nimrod, somebody in the comment section wrote of the thing about Yuval. This is woman. She's I guess Ole. She's made Aliyah to Israel, American. She wrote that people Israelis who name their kids names like Yuval and Nimrod, it's like an open rebellion against religion. That's why they started doing that.
That is true, but I think I heard I've heard Rabbi Ginsburg say I think he was quoting something that the Rebbe said, or
that it's not their fault, something like that. They don't know any better.
Actually, no. What he said was that might have been something he said another time. What he said specifically about the name Nimrod, there was a guy, an Israeli guy who was, I guess he was a Baal Tshuva, right? He was like, and he was wondering if he should change his name, because Nimrod, it's not something. Yeah. It's not. He wasn't a nice guy. Yeah. Right. So the Rebbe said, don't change your name, because the name itself, there are sparks in it. Yeah. There's positivity in it. Yeah. You should take it and you be the good Nimrod. Yeah.
It's kind of like my friend. It's kind of like
Fauci, right?
Yeah, my friend Yaakov Fauci. He's the tikkun for doctor.
But I think it's a little bit easier with Nimrod because there's a little time that has passed.
Yes.
With Fauci,
too soon.
Too soon.
Dude, he was too soon. He was first. Yaakov Fauci was first. What is this crap? I mean, Anthony Fauci was there for a while, but like Yaakov Fauci was. It's not his fault. It's like,
It's like Arafat or Pot. You have if you're in Cambodia, in that area of the world, if you're like saying Pot, you're not very popular. Yeah. Or maybe there's like a billion Pots.
I think it's a common. It's like Kim. Like Kim Jong Il.
Like Ming.
Yeah.
Wang.
Ming Wang.
Yeah.
Shitty walk. At least not. He's like, we don't make food made from cat.
You know what's funny? I don't know why this is random, but I used to love watching American Dad. Mm-hmm. I understand that it was, supposed to be, an irony, they were making fun of that whole like persona, but I still thought it was funny. Mm. And so there's this one episode where I think he was like trying to teach Steve, his son, how to be popular because he was really nerdy. Mm-hmm. So he kind of like, I think, went undercover as like one of the guy, like one of the kids in school. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm gonna teach you. And then like the most popular guy in school, his name was Vince Chung, right? Huh. Right? He was like the Chinese guy, but he was the most popular. He was like the prom king guy, right? He was like the what do I call him? The quarterback, right?
Yeah.
He was like
Mr. Touchdown Man.
Yeah. So basically, this is like pure John Hughes, right?
Yeah.
So he's like Steve's American Dad, right? Stan Smith. He's like, he goes, yo, man, because Vince Chung had come up and invited Steve to his party. Yeah. And then when he leaves, his father's like, yo, man, that was Vince freaking Chung invited you to the party. He's like, Vince freaking Chung.
It's just like, you never see a popular Asian in school.
I grew up. I went to Cunningham. Some of the most, there was a kid in Cunningham who was feared, like, by everyone. Mm-hmm. His name was Liang. Okay. He was a beast. Mm-hmm. He was a Terminator. Mm-hmm. We saw him. Some kid. This might have been the 7th grade, right? Mm-hmm. And Liang was really off the boat. Like he was like fresh from Hong Kong, like maybe 3-4 years before that, right? Couldn't speak English that well, and then some kid, some dummy said to him, "Oh, Liang, your mommy," something. He said, "Your mother," something like that.
Yeah.
Yo, this kid, he terminated this kid. Terminated. Okay, he dissolves him.
Yeah.
He eviscerated this other child, right? Which seemed to me like like an adult, because I was at that time, I was younger than these guys. Okay.
Hold on a second, man. Hold on a second. Just one second. We're back. Sorry, I had to feed the beast. The actual beast. Right. That's not a figure of speech.
I understand. You have a beast in the house. Your cat. You must feed him. I support.
So you're talking about the evisceration of this child?
Yes, this kid. It was, when you're 12 and you see a 13-year-old get eviscerated by another 13-year-old. Yeah. It seems like, but now looking back at it, I was like, these are children. Yeah. But it's weird. It's a good question. Like when you look back at yourself and your the people that you grew up with, right? Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. They're never quite children because you were there with them at the same time, at the same stage, right? So
for sure.
It's hard to look back at them and look at them as kids.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like...
it's also when you're like 8 and the 12-year-old seems way older.
Yeah.
Like way more developed.
12 is like, holy crap. Like,
it's like, the 12-year-olds. Oh, the 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Fourthies.
Huh.
Right?
For what?
All right. Remember, like in South Park, it's like, fourthies. Remember, like
fourthies. Fourthies. Yeah.
So this kid Liang, he punched this kid in the face, and the kid's head looked like it came off. Like it went. It was like
what the hell?
Back faster than his body. You understand?
Yeah.
Like it looked for a second like it came off. Like that's how hard he hit him.
Yeah.
And he looked like this kid Liang. I mean, he looked like for a kid pretty strong, but not the strongest kid you ever saw.
Yeah.
So it became understood that his punching power is powered by crazy.
Huh.
Okay, and so that's the most feared kind of power, right?
And anger probably.
Well, yeah, right, absolutely. So he punched this kid in the face, and he's like kicking him, right? He goes, "You don't talk my mommy. You don't talk my mommy," like that,
Yeah.
And it was one of the. It definitely stood out. Like I certainly remember seeing that.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, but like I grew up with Asian kids. I grew up with Chinese kids. I grew up with 2 Korean kids. Yeah. Right. I was friends with all of them.
Yeah, I was friends with
them. The funniest one of them all was a kid named Benny Hua. Maybe I shouldn't say.
Huh.
But I could literally look at him, and he could laugh for like a second. I would be laughing uncontrollably for 10 straight minutes because his laugh sounded so funny.
I think you told me this before, yeah. So, did he laugh like this? I
don't know. No, it wasn't even like that. It wasn't like a silly laugh. It was just such a... It was. I can't really describe it.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious, and not like I'm laughing at him.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but the kid was a delight.
You sound like James Lipton or Will Ferrell imitating James Lipton. It was a delight.
It was a delightful.
This child was a delight.
Yes.
He reminds me of the Jacques. What was he? The director. He was always mentioning the director. That he talks about, the French director. He's like, he reminds me of Jacques something Pivot. He is a delight. Remember? Did you see the SNL version of Will Ferrell doing James Lipton with the cards?
Yeah, absolutely. Where he did like he was doing a James Lipton as the most the most sarcastic human being ever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything he was saying was just pure committed sarcasm. Like everybody that he spoke to. Yeah. He despised them, and he was just like pandering to them, right? As if like a person who was full of hate.
Do you remember like when Chappelle was on, and he's like, tell us about the masterpiece, Half Baked. And then he starts. What?
You couldn't tell if he was being like a prick, right?
And then he starts going into, and then Chappelle starts going into like, basically without saying the word Shmuluminati, he starts going into that whole thing about, and then he's like, and then he whips out a cigarette and he's like, I don't know, man. He's like, pretty strong people are becoming sick, and they're telling them they're sick. But I don't think so, James. He's like, these are some strong people, and they're making them.
Who's he talking about?
No, he was talking about how like when he went to Africa during like when Chappelle went to Africa because they offered him like $25 bazillion and then but they wanted him to do what they wanted him to do. You know, these white guys in the boardroom, and so he went to Africa and they started doing lashon hara on him in the media that he's a cocaine and this and he went crazy and this, and he explained the whole story and then he's just like. He's like, and then he's talking about like what they did to Mariah Carey or Britney Spears, whatever. He mentioned other people, and he's like, James, these are strong people. But something about this industry is making them sick. It's making them react this way. And everybody kind of clapped. Everybody like in the audience clapped. This is like 06 or something, 05. But it's interesting. Even like back then, I was like, okay. I started catching on. I was like, okay, like something here is going on. Something here is going on. And before that, he went on Oprah. I think it was before or after, and he was talking about. This is when first time I heard about the whole like brothers being forced to wear women's clothing in movies. This is Chappelle brought this up.
Yeah,
there's the whole thing of that.
No, we talked about that. I mean, that that kind of crap's been going on, like freaking Milton Berle.
Yeah.
These. That's. I mean, look, not everything he says. Yeah. People talk about Chappelle as if he's some kind of this like mystical genius.
He's prophet. Not. He's a genius, but he's not like to that extent.
He's not a genius. He's a genius at comedy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay? He's a comedic genius.
But his ideas are not profound.
I know when he did that stupid thing about after the George Floyd thing when he did that. Did you see that thing? He tried to do this whole like.
I didn't see it.
He tried to do this whole profound like Black Power thing.
He doesn't make good points.
Yeah, he did. It was just like it was not even. It wasn't relevant to. Whatever happened, it wasn't relevant to whatever happened. I was like watching it, and I'm just like, dude. And it's funny because every once in a while he'll say something that makes sense and that pisses off leftists.
Told you, man, controlled opposition. Bro.
Yeah, and then he goes with this stuff, and it's just like, what is?
Yeah, I mean, he just says a lot of like 42nd Street nonsense.
Yeah.
42nd Street. I'm saying like when you hear like the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
Freaking morons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they look like Klingons. You know what I mean?
Those guys?
Persona,
yeah.
Their whole persona is like.
Yeah.
I saw a video, a commercial where they're like, "Come down, Miami," right? It's like you ever seen those commercials for rap, like rap shows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come down, you see your favorite DJs,
yeah,
the whole thing.
Sure,
Hot 97, that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And they did that, but it's like, come down, Miami, Passover.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Passover.
Yeah. Everything it's a very angry Passover.
What the hell? That's hilarious.
There's no afikoman in that Passover, let me tell you.
That's hilarious.
Right?
Well, speaking of Roseanne, dude, a friend of mine just wrote, so Roseanne was fired for racist comments. Will they fire Whoopi Goldberg? Nope.
No, they're not going to fire her. They're not going to.
It's so crazy. It's just like...
I've noticed something.
Mm-hmm.
You keep hearing when I used to battle with anti-Semites when I was like the Breitbart comment section or any of these discuss, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So all of them would say the same thing, like, find out who you can't talk about.
Yeah.
That's who's in charge of you, right? So obviously, we can't talk about the Jews.
Yeah.
Yet everybody always talks about the Jews.
Yeah.
Everybody, even literally everybody, and nothing ever happens to them. Nothing, ever.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody have to step down because they said something about Jews.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, you can say the worst possible things about Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, you could be criticized, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have people stick up for you, right? Like if you're Mel Gibson, right? You could say, you know, all of a sudden you're still going to have all these people like sticking up for you.
Because imagine, because you know why? Because at the end of the day, it's like
I know why.
It's like no. I want to enunciate though. It's like the children of Abraham being removed from, I don't know, the family for saying something about dad or the grandchildren of Abraham. Conversely, if Abraham goes and says something about Ham, you know, Ham is like, don't make fun of Ham. He's Ham. He's like, it's like, dude, you're kicking somebody when they're down. You know what I'm saying?
I beg to differ.
Okay, well, dude, again, like...
Totally fine to kick Ham. Kick him hard. Kick him in the face.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying...
that son of a bitch deserves
I'm saying in terms of the optics, it never looks... It's never going to look good. It's always going to look bad when Abraham kicks Ham.
The moment you start caring about how things look,
I don't care.
Goes against the truth,
I don't care. I'm just explaining to you why people get.
I know why. I know why.
So that's it.
That mindset, that thought is the thought of somebody who's finished. You know, if you ever have that in your mind, you're scared to say something that is true.
Yeah.
Right. For good reason, and you don't want to say it because of the optics.
Yeah.
That's it. You're Netanyahu.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Yeah.
You know, you're all these guys. You are these.
Yeah, I hear.
These useless. In fact, they're probably enemies.
Yeah, no.
You know, you've literally made yourself into the enemy of God.
Yeah, no.
Once you've adopted that mindset.
Yeah. I for sure don't have that mindset. I'm just explaining to you why. You know.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying you know, I'm talking to myself.
So this is, you know, listen. So this is why people. It's like, you know, they're allowed to get mad at grandpa and say whatever they want about grandpa and to grandpa, and nothing's gonna happen to them because it's a little kid talking about grandpa. Grandpa's not, you know, grandpa didn't get killed because of race. Grandpa's white. You know, I was just telling my friend, you know, she asked me, I don't understand how Whoopi could say that. I said, you gotta understand something. The perception that Americans have of Jews in America is that we are all white.
So what if we are white? No. That's true.
No, I know. No, we're not. Because first of all, we're not. Ostensibly, we're not. Jews are not. We're not Caucasians.
No, we are Caucasian.
No, we're not. And we're not. And also the image that they have of the Jew is there's no Sephardim in there at all. There's no Mizrahim. There's no Sephardim.
Sephardim are also Caucasian.
I'm just saying we're not.
Dude, listen to me.
We're Middle Eastern people.
I want you to finish what you're saying. And then we have to talk about
what I told my friend is that the image that they have of the Jew in America, there is no dudu biton. You know, there's none of that. You know, there's no Moroccans, there's no Tunisians, there's no Iraqis. There are Syrians, but nobody. You know, I was telling my friend, like, people don't even acknowledge the fact that, like, maybe they don't even know that Paula Abdul is Jewish. Her father is a Syrian Jew, and her mother was.
No, Paula Abdul is not Caucasian because one of her parents was, I think, African American.
No, they weren't. Her father, both her parents are Jewish.
Okay, but one of them might have. I think one of them was black.
They were not black. They were not black. Her father is a Syrian Jew. His last name's Abdul. Abdul is one of the Syrian. Her parents are.
Abdul is just a very general Middle Eastern.
It's a general Muslim name. So what I'm saying is, like, people don't associate Middle Eastern traits with Jews in America. They think that we are white people. So this idiot, she's just attributing, she's carrying that over from, she thinks it's all the people that came from Europe. Just like we talked about Helen Thomas yesterday. It's the same thing. It's the same Helen Thomas disease. So she's like, it wasn't about race. It was just, two groups of white people. One group, she doesn't, whatever. And that's basically it. What do you want? What do you want from these idiots? What do you want? And we've conditioned them to have a perception of us in that way. If you're talking about Larry David, Woody Allen.
Dude, I didn't condition
Not
nobody
you,
to have any
not
perception.
you, not you. I'm talking about the American Jew.
I don't think. Look, I think that you got a couple of people, right?
Yeah.
I look at it a little bit different. You have Esav. There's a rule, right? Esav hates Yaakov.
Esav
right?
Yaakov, yeah.
Right. So you're looking at a default setting that doesn't take much for it to continue, right?
Sure.
Like it would have been, it could have just taken just one, Larry David type dude, not Larry David, more like Woody Allen, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all they needed.
For sure.
You understand?
No, but that's not the point. The point is the fact that this woman said, wasn't she said like, oh, anything against Jews per se? She just said it wasn't about race because Jews are white. Yeah, two groups of white people.
I'm not saying like she's right in her point, but just that one point is like that Jews are white. Can I please explain?
Okay.
Can I please explain something, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If you look at, first of all, if you look at our tradition, okay, you look at what it says in the Gemara about what the Shvatim looked like.
Okay.
Okay. They were primarily Caucasian. Yehuda had somewhat of a olive skin newcomer look. Okay. Joseph was extremely fair skin with light eyes, and he would turn pink like a rose in the sun.
That doesn't mean we're from the Caucasian ethnicity.
No. Okay. Hold on. Caucasian just means generally. I'm not saying that could be a misnomer.
Yeah, I think
okay?
we're having trouble defining terms.
So basically, Caucasian is like white European people. Okay, so the Caucasus are the kind of like border of when you start moving down from Western and Northern Europe,
Kafkaz, like Dagestan.
You start going southeast, and so the Caucasus Mountains is where Caucasians end. Basically, that's kind of the idea. Okay, that's like
if anybody's Dafka Caucasian, it's Kafkazi Jews.
No. That's not true at all.
I know.
Okay?
I'm kidding.
So it's like
I'm kidding.
In any border, there's going to be like a kind of like a blending, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just kind of like it's just a word, It's somebody's just said.
No,
but I'm just saying, but like okay, but light skinned, light hair, light eyes. Okay, this was something that's characteristic of the Middle East.
But can I tell you something real quick?
I'd like to just finish at least one sentence.
No, I was just regarding that point. Iraq.
All right.
There's Iraqi Jews who are fair skinned and all these kind of things you're describing, but they're then you go to Morocco and North Africa, and Jews from there are dark. Then you go to Yemen.
No, let me explain that.
Okay.
There were Jews in Morocco, okay, and many of them are Berber converts.
Really?
Okay. Correct.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not saying all Moroccan Jews were, because you had a lot of Jewish people from Spain, right, and Portugal, go to North Africa to flee the Inquisition.
Yeah.
So they would, so the Moroccan Jewish community is a blend of Sephardic Jews who are Caucasian, okay, and Berber converts.
Yeah.
Okay, there were like if we were like if you wanted to compare like the Jewish nation to like Coke, we're like 80%, 85% pure.
Yeah.
We got like maybe like 5-10% or 15, well at most 15%, like incorporated into the Jewish people of today come from converts.
Yeah.
So, but primarily, the Jewish people, the tribes. I'm talking about the tribes of Israel. Okay, so Joseph was very, very light skinned, and he had light hair.
He
was
Gingy, supposedly, Joseph.
I'm not sure. I know that Shimon was Gingy. Yeah. He had kind of like a reddish. He was kind of. I get the picture like he looked like a redneck kind of. You know what I mean? Like Shimon. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And because of the way he's described, Levi was albino.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then Yehuda was described as, kind of like southern. Actually, I'm going to say northern Mediterranean type people. You know what I mean? Like what we would seem like Italy and Greece, and even perhaps even Turkey. Okay, so that was kind of the general thing. Now we've had, for instance, like new communities pop up from converts.
Yeah.
Okay. In Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then there was also, because Ethiopia is so close to Yemen, right? It's just across. It's not a huge issue to sail across this kind of like narrow little strip of ocean, the Red Sea, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of correspondence between Ethiopia and some of the North African Jewish communities, and also in Yemen, which is right across the water. Okay, it was going on for a long time because the Ethiopian community started like a long time ago. It was the Yemenite community was already there. Okay, it was just beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, but so a little bit later, the Ethiopian community started because it was founded by Menelik. He was the son of Shlomo Melech and the Queen of Sheba.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just that area has it was a community that emerged. So it was kind of like a new tribe to some extent, even though they were mostly Yehuda. If you're gonna go by tribal lineage, because you go by the father, right? Mm-hmm. The mother was a convert. The father was Shlomo Melech, right?
Yeah.
And then he also sent a entire entourage, a royal entourage from Yehuda to escort her back to her kingdom and set up a community there. So there was a community there. It's real, So that is part of it, but that's not the majority of the Jewish people. Okay, it's just a fact. If it was the other way around, I would be saying the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just important to say what it is. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, however it would have turned out if everybody was black, then say that shit. What's the difference?
Yeah.
It's just I don't like the covering over reality, because to make it like something that's like popular or to make it woke or to make it politically correct, it sickens me.
Yeah.
It's not the truth. Okay, I had a white Persian cat. All right, his name was Pushkin. He wasn't black. Okay, I have a black cat. He was a different cat. Yeah. Why do I have to say that my white Persian cat was Pushkin? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a simple, like, what the hell's going on with people?
Well, I think in our case, what I'm saying that with the Jews, we don't want to be associated with white Europeans, because we actually are.
I don't mind that. I don't mind being.
I do, because I don't consider myself that. And dude, I was born in Ukraine, you
can consider yourself.
No, we were different. They identified us as different, and we are different. We're different from them. When I'm not Ukrainian, I'm not Russian. I'm not white, and I'm not white European. I'm not.
Dude, listen to me. You are not a Ukrainian. You are a white European.
No, I'm not.
Because...
Dude, you can call me whatever you want. I'm not a white European.
Okay, all right, Mr. Lunatic. All right.
It's not lunatic.
Dude, just hang on, okay? Okay, fine. I'll talk about myself, all right? Even though we come from the same people, but me and you are totally different, right? Okay. So anyway, I'm not saying I'm a Ukrainian. Definitely not. I'm not saying I'm anything.
Dude, I was born in Europe because of something that was done to Jews is because of Jews were kicked out by the Romans out of Israel. Geographically speaking, it's just very simple.
Let me give you, and fine, dude. I'm not gonna try to force you to believe anything, okay? But let me give you at least an alternative to that whole narrative. Okay. So, the Middle East was populated, and Northern and Western Europe were very, very sparsely populated because the temperature, the climate, in just like probably like 3,500 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It only just started to become temperate enough, maybe for some people to come. It was like a tundra. Okay, so right around the time when the lost tribes, right, the so-called lost tribes were kicked out of Israel, right? Assyria was the empire. Assyria had already spread its influence deep into whatever part of Europe was habitable by some kind of civilization. You know what I mean? Where you could set up. You might have had a few hundred, maybe, kind of like, like tribal, like very primitive tribe people living in those dense forests, in the cold. Okay, but it was almost unpopulated. Right?
Hey man,
so
can you give me like 2 minutes? I'm sorry, I just need to hit up the bathroom. I apologize.
I think you don't have to go to the bathroom. I think you just can't handle the truth.
I can. I actually would like to hear this. I'm interested in these things.
All right, man. All right.
I'm back. Hello? Hello? You hung up on me, you bastard.
Hello.
Yes.
Huh.
You're being recorded, so yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so you were saying about this whole Assyria and all this kind of stuff.
Okay. So Assyria was the main empire at the time when in Tanakh, when the tribes were being kicked out of Israel, the northern tribes, right?
Yeah.
Of Israel. Okay, so Assyria, by the way, also Caucasians. Okay, you can see in their depictions.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were spreading out, okay, and a lot of people that they took over in the Middle East, right? They actually, Sanherov was famous. He did I think Stalin got, he took his example and he started shifting populations, like moving indigenous populations, right? Let's say there's somebody who lives in Jordan, transplanting them and putting them in Syria.
Yeah.
People from Syria putting them in Turkey, right? Just so because he understood that it's very difficult to fight a culture that has its roots powerfully connected to its homeland, right?
Yeah.
So he wanted to essentially weaken the cultures that he was conquering in that respect, so he wouldn't have to fight them again.
Yeah.
Okay. He did the same thing to the tribes, the northern tribes of Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. They were transported to different areas in the new territories. Okay. Yeah. Especially the frontier territories of Assyria, of the expanding Assyrian Empire. Okay. So they went north to the Caucasus, towards Turkey, and north from there, and then many of them went east to the Russian steppes, and then many of them went to they took a left, they went west, okay, and they started moving towards central, northern, and almost as far, a lot of them eventually ended up, maybe this took a couple of centuries, but they ended up in Ireland and England and places like that. Okay, you have this group of people called the Scythians.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, they're supposedly
the lost. This is the only ancient empire that nobody wants to teach you about.
I know.
They defeated the Egyptians. They defeated the Romans. They defeated the Greeks. They literally defeated everybody.
Well, supposedly they are like the progenitors of the Russians, supposedly, but not really.
That's what the Russians like to think.
Yeah, but it's not true.
they're partially correct.
Yeah, partially.
The Scythians were kind of like a motley crew of tribes that were displaced by the Assyrians. So they formed this kind of like confederation of like different peoples who they went through the same like rigorous crap from the Assyrians, and because they were all employed as Assyrian soldiers.
It's kind of like the people who are against the smacks, but we're all over the damn place, and some of us are like business people, and other people are truckers in Canada, and other people are like weirdos in Europe, and we're just like this loosely confederated thing, and yet somehow we're gonna win.
But after a while, that becomes its own identity.
Yeah.
Right? And they become like kind of like a there. So you have this like primary Scythian culture, and then you have these subcultures within, because some people retained their tribal identity and memory. Okay, so the tribes of Israel were part of that.
It's like you have like you go on Twitter, you see this guy like Jewish Trumper, you know, like a person who's Jewish, he's always Jewish, but now it's a subculture of supporting Trump. And then within that, you have like Jewish Q Shmanan people, you know, who were wearing like raccoon heads. Jewish guys were wearing raccoon heads. So then you get that. That's like a whole thing, you know. But it's part of a greater thing. And now that you have the schmacks, and you have like people who are only, you know, going shidduchim smacks with smacks, anti-schmacks, again, who didn't take schmacks. So now you actually have people procreating. It's a whole.
You got way too esoteric.
I'm just saying it's going to be a whole new, like sub.
I know there's a new culture forming. Right.
It's going to be a new breed of people.
Right, but okay. But the Scythians, they were together for centuries and centuries. That was already fully formed new culture.
Yeah.
Okay. And it would seem, based on the researchers that I'm referencing right now, that the tribes of Israel took a primary role.
Hopefully, one of the researchers is not Yuval Noah Harari.
It is not. It is not. Okay? One of the researchers is a guy who sounds like he's been drinking gravel and crushed the...
It's not Santa Claus swab, is it?
It's not. It's a man who I believe is a holy man, a good man. Very interesting. His name is Yair Davidi.
Ah, you told me this guy. He also talks like this.
No, he doesn't talk like that. He doesn't talk like that. He talks with a very gruff, old school Australian accent.
Dude, can I just interject? Did you see that Soros video from today?
Yeah, it's sad.
Xi Jinping and China. He has the state threat to humanity.
The one thing that video proves, right?
Yes.
And I think the anti-Semites are going to be very unhappy with this, if anybody ever listens to us. Okay? So they're going to be very unhappy because it's very important for the anti-Semites to position Soros on the top of the totem pole, the mastermind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I've always been saying that he's pretty low down on the totem pole.
Oh, of course he is. He's a rogue agent.
Right. So, but that video that you showed shows that he is now just a decrepit old man who can barely speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just sad, and it's a long time ago. People took over for him. Okay.
His son, who is way more dangerous than him, has taken over for him. His son is the guy now. Alexander is the son. And
Okay.
Yeah. What's that noise?
Oh, that might have been a fork.
Oh, okay. Sometimes it's you making a noise. Other times it's a Chinese spy spying on this conversation.
Very rarely is it me making the noise.
That's interesting. Okay. Hey there, Wang Cheng. Get off the line.
It's Vince freaking Chung. So listen. No. So let me. I just want to wrap this up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So because
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
Okay, so basically, so like we were saying before that Western, Central, and Northern Europe were not inhabited, generally speaking, because it was not a temperate climate. When the climate started getting more temperate, then obviously the powers, the primary civilizations, the primary regions that were inhabited were the Middle East and parts of North Africa. Okay? In terms of, I mean, those were not the only inhabited civilizations, but those were the primary civilizations on the world stage at that time. Okay, so everybody else around were, well, I actually don't know this, but it would seem that it was primarily like primitive tribe in comparison to the primary civilizations, primitive tribal cultures. Okay, so which includes those that were living in Western and Northern Europe, low population, primitive tribes. Okay, so the primary people that began to seriously populate those areas were, like I said, those who were sent to the frontier, which of course were the captured peoples from the Assyrian Empire. Now, the Assyrian Empire didn't last very much longer after that, and and the people who started taking over from the Assyrians, that became known as the Scythians. Excuse me. Okay, so the Scythians, the lost Israelite tribes were huge. First of all, hugely influential, and also possibly, perhaps up to 50% of the actual Scythian Empire itself. Like, the descendants of the Israelite tribes were very, very populous among the Scythian. It wasn't just them. It was other Middle Eastern peoples as well. Okay, but the Middle East is where white people came from. That's my point.
I hear what you're saying. So what you're telling me is that,
including Esav, including Edom, including
even
the Canaanites.
I get it.
Were white. Canaanites were white.
I guess what I'm saying is that at this point, at the end of the day, when I say white, again, we have to define our terms. When I say white, I'm talking about non-Jews from Europe, right? And I don't consider myself a person, even though I was born in Ukraine, or I was born in Eastern Europe. I don't consider myself a person who was of that, first of all, land. Where's that noise, man? Hello?
Let me move away. Hold on. Hang on, because I'm a little bit near the kitchen.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Maybe there's the odd noise coming from the kitchen, so I'm going to move away. All right.
I don't consider myself of those people. I don't consider myself of that land. Nor do I consider myself of that culture. That's what I'm saying. That's what I say when I say I'm not white, right?
I understand what you're saying.
That's all I'm saying. If you want to get technical, everything you explained, you're right. Historically, you're right. I mean, you're right. What I mean is when I say I'm not white, is I'm not those peoples. I'm not part of those peoples. I'm not Eastern European. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm not. My mindset is not, as my parents like to say, goyish kop. I'm not of that. Okay. I hail, just like you hail, from the land that is today called Israel. So
I know that.
No, so listen. So it happens to be what.
Wait, dude, just hold on.
Just let me finish. Just let me finish. So you know.
I was actually trying to finish, but okay, you finish.
Do you know this guy Rudy Rockman?
No.
Okay, Rudy Rockman is a young guy. He's like a pro-Israel activist, and he's taken to also be one of those people to have like kind of grassroots dialogue with Arabs and stuff and other people. What I don't really appreciate what he does is, you know what he did? Or what he started doing, and I know why he started doing it, because it's kind of a shtick for people on campus who don't really know how to think in deeper ways. He made a Jewish version of a keffiyeh. He took a keffiyeh and
right.
You know this guy.
Okay.
So this is the kind of stuff that's like, it's like childish BS. It really is.
Okay.
So that I'll say I don't really appreciate. However, the point that he's trying to convey, or the message that he's trying to send, is that at the end of the day, we are, I'm not saying we're black, I'm not saying we're Arab, all I'm saying is that we hail from the Middle East. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to a little bit co-opt Middle Eastern flair or flavor or culture that's in reality from Arabia, right? It's a freaking shmata. And he's trying to co-opt it. We never wore freaking shmatas. And we wore shmatas back in the time of Avram Avinu, maybe.
No, actually, the kafia, that whole style.
That's a Avram Avinu?
That was how talit were being worn like 800, 900 years ago.
Okay, so but what he's doing is he took the checkers, the Palestinian checkers.
Yeah, the checker, that was not.
That's what he took, and he turned it into blue and white with like Magen David, which is a whole other, whatever. Turned it into this whole Mickey Mouse Club shit, okay? Which I don't really I personally don't really appreciate. I think it's shtick. It's mama's shtick. Okay, it's shtick, and it's
a political gimmick.
It's a political game. It's like a little, it's a college campus game, whatever. So, however, we are from the Middle East. That's why, and even today.
But that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just so listen. So based on what you're saying, I have a question for you. Is Whoopi Goldberg right? Was this
Goldberg,
she's saying this is a conflict. This was a conflict between two white groups of people, the Germans and the Jews, and therefore it wasn't about race. That's what she's saying, because she sees it through the lens of whiteness and blackness.
It all depends on how you define race. That's really what it comes down to. To her,
okay,
and to people like her, it's the color of your skin.
Yeah.
Not everybody defines it.
But that's what I was saying from the outset, that the reason for that is, again, because by her and by many people in America, not just her, they've never seen a darker hued Jewish person. Or even if they had, they wouldn't know that person's Jewish. Like if I plopped Dudu Biton in front of Whoopi Goldberg, she would think, without telling him his name or who he is, she would think that he's an Arab. But he's a Jew, just like you and I, right?
Right. So they will redefine.
But he's brown.
Reality.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
She will redefine it. She'll be like, oh, no, but you guys aren't really Jewish.
Yeah,
you guys are brown.
Yeah.
Or actually, you guys are the real Jews.
Yeah.
And those white people,
yeah.
That's where all this goes. That's
yeah.
where all this is about,
I understand
really.
what you're saying.
That's actually what it's all about.
Well, that's where all this goes, but that's why I'm saying, for the purposes of the discussion in America especially, that's why I don't... That's why I like to be careful when saying that we are white. Because people in America will pull us in with they'll pull a Helen Thomas routine on us. You understand what I mean? Like they're just gonna be like, go back to Poland, Germany, where you belong. We don't freaking belong there. If we go back there, we're gonna get slaughtered.
Okay, but if only you had allowed me to finish my point.
Okay,
I was trying to wrap it up.
Oh, I'm listening. Sorry, it's a little long-winded. That's all.
Because you keep interrupting. Dude.
No,
it's like we keep going on these like little, these little scenic routes because you keep asking questions.
Sorry.
Motherfucker. All right, so basically, the people from Europe, right, are from the Middle East. Yeah. It's not the other way around.
I gotcha.
So look, the tribes of Israel, the northern tribes, okay, they were kicked out centuries earlier than Yehuda, the tribe of Yehuda, the tribe of Benjamin, and most of the Kahana. That's the Jewish people of today. The full tribe of Yehuda, the full tribe of Benjamin, and the majority of the priesthood, the real priesthood. Okay, the descendants of Aaron, Moses' brother. Okay, that's the Jewish people of today. So the other tribes who have since lost their consciousness, they've lost their identity as Hebrew tribes. Okay, however, they still seem to have retained their cohesion, right? So they moved to Central, Northern, and Western Europe. Okay, and so they had been there way earlier. They gotten there way earlier in some cases than the Jews have, except in places like Spain, where it would seem that there were Jewish people there for a very, very long time, even back in the time of King Solomon. Okay, by the way, King Solomon had a pretty. It's not the way it's portrayed now. The reality was a little bit different. He was kind of like, probably the most important leader in the entire world. He had vast resources. He had a vast navy. They traveled all around the world. They got resources during the time when they were building the temple. They got very exotic substances from all over the world, possibly even the Caribbean, because they found the descriptions of some of the things that were brought for the temple seemed to be very odd, and they match a little bit more with things that were found in the Yucatan Peninsula. So it's possible, like Brazil, for instance, right? That going to another place in South America, they had very rich iron. It's probably the number one iron producer in the world in terms of raw material. Brazil. Okay, so how do you say iron in Hebrew?
Iron Barzell.
Barzell. So, look, a lot of these little anecdotal things, and of course, most of the academics are going to, totally dismiss this, and they won't even look at it. I don't give a damn. I'm just telling you, this is what it looks like to me after comparing these two narratives. Which one makes more sense to me, and which one fits more with what the actual Chazal are saying. Okay, the Chazal have a lot of statements as to where the lost tribes went to. Okay, they talk about it. Even Josephus, in the times of Josephus, they knew where the lost tribes were. Okay, so the lost tribes were only relatively recently considered lost. They really did have. Anyway, so even though the people of northern, of Central and Western Europe, okay, many of people from that population descend from the lost tribes. It's not all of them, okay? A lot of them are Edomites or other Middle Eastern cultures that were conquered by Syria, and then there were numerous migrations.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So,
whoa,
bless you. So basically, that's so obviously the cultures changed. There's a lot of mixing going on between the lost tribes and the other tribes that were there. It's like they didn't keep to the Jewish law. So there's no insured pedigree that you can necessarily. Moshiach is going to come and have to disentangle that whole thing. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That the people who live there, they might think that they are. In Indo-Europeans or whatever whatever the term is, they're not. Okay, they're actually Middle Eastern. I'm just saying that the Jews are a more recent addition from the Middle East to Europe, but it has been 1,000 years. It's been more than 1,000 years. So we are part of the European culture. Okay, we've been there for a long time.
Yeah,
we've retained our identity, we retained our history and our national purpose and our goals and our hope for the future.
That's
and
true.
Our return to the homeland of Israel. But it doesn't mean that we're not.
But can I ask you? Can I ask you a question though? I'm only speaking for myself. There's something about. I won't say everything, but there's something about many of the things. Either in just, I would say, secular, what you want to call secular Ashkenazi cultural Judaism, or
that's a new thing. That's
just
brand new.
I know. No, well, it's not that brand new because it's been, like you said, it's been around for like a few. I would say at least since the 1700s. There's
it really became a thing like Napoleon around.
I know what I'm saying is right now. Ostensibly, it is the dominant, even in the frum world, to the point where and we know why this happened. The Sephardim came to Israel and religious ones, and they got sucked into the Ashkenazic or Ashkenazi Litvish system, let's say, and that's the dominant, so to speak, cultural, religious system around the world, really. If you want to become, or let's say if you're a Baal Tshuva, right? Let's put aside for a second.
That's because the primary scholars and the majority of the Jewish population.
Just hear me out. Just hear me out. I'm getting to a point about myself. There's for some reason, I never resonated with most of the things in that, even though I'm from, I have stock from like Berdichev and whatever it is, and I never resonated culturally with any of these things. The music, food, maybe a little bit of shtickle here and there. So yeah, I just said shtickle.
Can't stand gefilte fish. Don't like I.
No, I like. I guess I like the food, but yeah, the I stuff. The way that people are. The way that they want you to be. The way that they want Bali Tshuva to be, and to dress, and to talk, and to think. I never. There's people who fit into that. There's guys I know who like became Baal Tshuva and they fit into that like a glove. And for some damn reason, I fit more into the... That's why I made Aliyah. That's not why I made Aliyah. That's one of the reasons why I felt like I belong. I still feel like that way. Obviously, I'm just kind of stuck here. That I belong in Israel because I'm more geared towards... Even though I'm not Sephardi and I'm not Moroccan and I'm not Ars, as we say. I'm not... whatever.
I know. It was a major bummer when I learned about all these,
yeah.
identities even within the Jewish people. It was a bummer.
But I resonate more with, what you would call, being in the settlements and being in our land, in the land, in the part of the land where the Torah began. I'm closer to that. There's something about that speaks to me. There's something about even like, I have good friends who are Yemenites. I never knew any of these people until I was like 30. And I feel closer to them than I do to like Russians or to like people in Flatbush or even like, Lubavitchers I'm kind of, feel close with because the Berdichev thing. But like, apart from like Lubavitchers, I don't feel close to any Ashkenazi people. I don't feel close to any American frum people. I want, and I'm not saying this as like a hatred thing. It's more of just like a preference. I don't want anything to do with them. Somebody tries to set me up with a girl like that. I can see her picture. She's attractive, but apart from that, I don't see any. There's no neshama connection there. I would sooner date a girl named, I don't know. Let's say Liron Biton. From Ramat Gan, then I would date some girl, Esther Rabinowitz from Flatbush. But my question is, I was wondering, but is there something wrong with me? Meaning, like, I'm from Ukraine. I was born in Ukraine. I'm East, I'm like you said, I'm Eastern European. I have like my parents' families from Berdichev, my dad's family, my mother's family's from like Kiev, Odessa. My grandmother, my dad's mom is Zhytomyr, that's another Hasidic place. But I can't. Dude, my first time I ever went to, there was a guy in my yeshiva in Chappelle's in Jerusalem. Some guy got married. And I guess Ashkenazi guy, or I think he was a convert or something. It was like Ashkenazi, he took on Ashkenazi customs, whatever it was. And I remember the dancing. And I remember like the first part of the thing, they played Ashkenazi, this like oy 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 stuff. And I for the first time in my life, I felt like as if I had no rhythm. And I'm like, I know I have rhythm. I know how to dance. I was a DJ. I feel like they just neutralized my, like somebody just came and like neutralized my mojo for like 30 minutes. And you got these guys, they're dancing and they're doing some moves, and like this 80-year-old rabbi's doing some moves, and I'm like, what is wrong? Why do I feel like a piece of wood? And this guy feels like he's like Gumby. Looks like he's doing Gumby moves. And then next thing you know, the band starts playing Sephardi music with like darbukas, and I'm just going crazy. And I start just going off. And I'm like, am I black? What's up? Am I just? No, maybe I spend too much. Maybe I spend too much time in the clubs in New York. Like I used to go to these, the deep house part. I don't know. I was just like, I don't get. Dude, I can't get down to. I can't get jiggy with any of this Ashkenazi stuff. I just can't. There's some people who can. I can't do it.
Not many people can.
No, I've seen a lot of people who can. A lot of Baal Tshuva guys who get down with it. I ain't down with it. Homie, don't play that.
So this is. I think the reality is there's people who like a little bit of. They like a little bit of both. Like for instance, like I have generally did not enjoy. Right. I had nothing against it, but I didn't enjoy the oi 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 stuff. Okay, it sounds funny to me because I'm similar to you in the terms of like the type of music I grew up listening to. All right, I do like I like Middle Eastern instruments.
Yeah.
Okay, and sometimes the singing is very, very interesting, especially someone I think they call it makam, right? Scale singing, right? I think that if it's not too nasally, it could be really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, if you listen to Avram Fried, right, he's tremendous.
He is tremendous in and of himself. He has a wonderful voice.
Right. His voice is crazy. Right?
But at the same time, the style of music that he it's just not my. I like him as a person. I think he's great. I think he's a great singer. I think he's a very talented person. It's just not my thing.
I know it's mega nerd.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it.
Mega.
No, it is.
I shall call him mega nerd.
Like I've heard I'm not going to say klezmer because I've actually heard some klezmer that's pretty kind of that's kind of rock actually.
Dude, good klezmer is really good. Dude, they have the klezmer festival actually in Lvov. They have a klezmer festival, and they also have they also have one in Tzfat. Sick.
Yeah, I've heard klezmer drummers, like rock drummers.
Yeah.
It has that rock feel to it. So I'm not saying klezmer.
Yeah.
It's just it's very. I have a feeling that, by the way, the oi 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 stuff as we are experiencing it, okay, is actually, you're probably not going to believe this, but it's actually a new phenomenon.
But it's Russian music. I told people this in yeshiva. They're like, Jewish music. I'm like, dude, you're singing Russian music with Yiddish lyrics. Anyway.
No, but yeah, I know. It's an Eastern European style. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But and it's not like Jewish music, but it is a cultural. There is a Jewish take on this Eastern European type music, which is the same thing with the food, by the way.
Yeah.
The food that Ashkenazi Jews eat, it's just Eastern European food. Like cholent is just zharkoya.
I know.
With a couple of beans thrown
into it. I know, it's
it.
stew. That's all it is.
All right?
That was been hot for a few hours.
Right. So this stuff is like, I think that the reason why the rabbis try to emphasize it is because this is the connection that many Jewish people have to Jewishness. They remember this from their grandparents, and that's all they have. Like that's the bridge to the Torah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not my bridge to the Torah.
To me, it's the bridge over the River Kwai. Remember what happened at the end of that movie?
All right.
That's what it is to me.
I know, dude. We're a little bit different
than
the average.
I know. The average bear.
The target.
I know.
They try to target Jewish people because this is what they remember.
Yeah,
they remember, even though I heard my grandparents speak Yiddish when they didn't want me to understand what they were saying.
Yeah, same.
Okay, it sounded like damn German to me.
Yeah.
It actually bugged me.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just this kind of thing, and for me, like old Russian people look more familiar.
Yeah.
Even if they're not Jewish.
Yeah, I know.
They look more familiar to me than, older kind of like religious Jewish people. It's just not the look that I was used to. Except when I went to Kfar Chabad and there was an old chassid there who's Russian.
Yeah.
But not a Baal Tshuva guy. He's like from generations of unbroken lineage of religious Jews, except he spoke perfect Russian because he was from there. His name is David Chaim, and his wife Chaya. I love this couple.
Dude, do you know what? There was a moment in yeshiva. I remember this one moment where, I'm sitting there and there's and everybody, for the most part, except for like a couple of people, it's like American Jews, American frum guys, or like Bali Tshuva, and then the rabbis are like these FFB guys, or like the Rosh Yeshivas, right? So I remember one time sitting around, and then, they're steiging, they're doing their thing. And you know how, like, sometimes rabbis, these Ashkenazi, like, kind of American rabbis, when they come up with like a Hiddush, or they teach something out of the Gemara or the Talmud, they'll yell out, or when the other guy does, and they'll yell out, "Oh, you're saying good," and they go, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that "oh" is identical to every Russian older man that I grew up with,
Yeah.
who's secular.
They're trying to mimic that.
They're mimicking the oh, Grisha. They were like, it reminded me of like, oh, Grisha. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you got it, it's like, you got it right. Oh, or like my uncle used to say.
Can I tell you my favorite "oh"? You're going to love this "oh".
Oh.
Listen
And
to
I'm
this,
like, what are you?
This "oh". Listen to this "oh". I have a friend named Lenny. It's possible you even know this kid, or maybe you've seen him around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like going back like 20 years, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
Every time we're watching TV, we're sitting in some lounge, and then the TV was on, and then Maria Sharapova was there. He was "oh, Sharapova."
Yeah, exactly. See, that's no, dude. When I was in yeshiva, I was like, you don't awe at whatever they awe at. You awe at Sharapova. I was like sitting there. I was like,
I didn't awe at Sharapova,
But
but it was hilarious that every time she showed up on the TV, he's like, "oh, Sharapova."
Sharapova. No, so like these American men from like Baltimore or Lander College or wherever they're from, and I'm like, you're awing? You're not Russian.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
What is this?
I've noticed that like Lubavitcher sometimes, or these guys, they would say something to me knowing that I'm Russian, right?
Yeah.
And then they would be like, "Oh, you don't recognize that?" I'm like, "The hell are you talking about?"
Yeah.
He goes, he'd say some kind of like thing that he thought was
Yeah.
Russian,
Yeah.
sounding,
Yeah.
but they were not pulling it off.
Exactly.
But to them, it's Russian.
Yeah.
But Greg, you have to understand something. You and me, guys like from our background, there is a term for us.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called Tinok Shenishba.
I know. Believe me,
so
I know.
I remember reading a book.
Mm-hmm.
This could have even been in the 6th grade, where there was this is like about the settlement times when you had the people moving west in the United States, right? And they were settling areas that were unsettled, or they were. You had Native American Indians living there. Yeah. Okay, and there would be conflicts, or sometimes the Indians would attack. Yeah. Right, and then they would take prisoners. Yeah. They would take captives, and they took children. They took children sometimes, and these are like white European children, right? Yeah. And then they end up growing up in the tribes. Yeah. Sometimes they get returned when they're in their teens. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then they have to learn how to live like a white European, and they can't do it. Yeah. That's what we're like.
I know.
Okay, so we might love our connection to the Torah is the Torah. It's not the chicken
soup. Yeah, stam.
Okay, so that's a good thing on the one hand. All right, but
I remember, dude. I remember this one guy that I knew, Russian guy. Also, he also went to Rage. Became Baal Tshuva, and he became very like kind of black hat style, whatever. I remember, like, we're walking. This is like one of these Shabbat, Shabbatons, getaways, whatever. And he was just asking me about, like, Shidduch, why it's so hard. He's like, why is it so hard for you? He asked me, he's like, why is it so hard for you to meet a girl and this? I'm like, well, I don't really fit into the whole thing, the Welt, whatever. And then he goes, and he named, like, a few other guys, a part of our, kind of friends group. He's like, you guys are all, like, funky donkey. Why can't you just be normal? And I'm like, I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but the way you're dressed and the way you talk and the way you chose to dress and what you chose to be a part of represents a percentage of a small percentage of a small percentage of a fractal of human beings on planet Earth. And you're telling me that I'm not normal and I'm funky donkey?
Well, he's right. Not for the reason he's thinking.
I know, and I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, dude, I'm just here for God. I'm not here for hats. I'm not. And and if I ever would be, it's probably after I get married and I choose to wear a bekisha and a hat.
But let me ask you a question. This is I've been thinking about this.
For crying out loud.
If they did hats right, I think I would be into it.
You know what I mean? It's not. I'm not. I don't mean that.
If you look at pictures from the 40s and the 50s,
Yeah.
the way they wore hats.
Yeah.
If you look at pictures of the Rebbe
I know.
with his 3-piece suit and
Yeah.
his perfect hat,
Yeah.
okay? If they did it with style, that's a
Yeah.
whole separate story.
But it's not for me. It's not. It's not about the style. It's not about, what I'm saying is, I'm not here for aesthetics. It's just a hats. I just use an example. I'm not here for the aesthetics. I'm here. You know, it's like my mother likes to say. You know, she talks about like there's there's a couple here in Fairlawn. They made Aliyah. They're older. They retired. They went to Jerusalem. They bought an apartment like years ago, at a cheaper price, And my mother always likes to say, she's like, ну ты понимаешь, они живут в мир, these people live in the world of ideas, you know? And I said, yeah, and I'm the same way. I live in the world of ideas. That's all I'm here for. I'm just here. I'm only doing this because of an idea, because of ideas. I'm not here for all this extra Tosafos crap. You understand? Like,
Actually, no. I think I'm a little lost.
I'm not here for these accoutrements and ornaments. I'm just here for ideas. Somebody convinced me to keep Shabbat and kosher with an idea, not with hats and this and that.
Okay, I'm going to have to challenge you.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a halachic idea, right,
Okay.
which is Torah, okay?
Okay.
About there's supposed to be an identifiable.
Yeah, we're not supposed to dress like the goyim, and we're not supposed to this. Yeah.
No, right. So there has to be something religiously Jewish identifiable about you.
Correct. So I always wore, until recently, even here in America, as much as I felt uncomfortable because I didn't grow up this way, a kippah and tzitzit. And I stood out like a sore. In America, I stood out like a sore thumb. That's why I can't. It's very difficult for me to live here because I didn't grow up. I didn't grow up religious.
It takes a little getting used to, yeah.
Yeah, like I felt like when I came back from Israel in 2013 and I was like freshly minted from guy, I felt like Crocodile and freaking Dundee. I was looking for the next bidet to flush down the toilet, you know, or to spray my whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I was walking around Manhattan going, no, that's a knife. I was looking for like transgender people going, that's a knife, you know.
Dude, I just ordered a knife, by the way. Can't wait till.
I like how we.
I have a problem. You could ask my wife.
You got a knife problem.
Another knife? Yeah. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, this is the last one.
It's very funny.
She goes, that's what you said last time.
You're not Crocodile Ephraim. Anyway, so, yeah, man, I was like, and in Israel, I'm just like, I'm chilling. I'm like walking, you know. Kippah tzitzit. I'll even go to Tel Aviv in a kippah tzitzit. I don't care. So that's fine, you know. And I try to explain to my friend, the guy who called me Funky Donkey.
Dude, you know, tzitzit for me are much easier than a kippah. For some reason, I don't know why.
Really?
It's an oddity.
Tzitzit for me are not difficult. Tzitzit for me, the only issue is the garment, and it's hot, and I for years have had an internal war or a physical war with myself over, you know, first I had like the mesh.
Yeah.
And then I went over to, and then I realized actually the mesh is what makes me sweat more, and then I went over to the cloth.
Mesh. It's for queers.
Yeah, I felt like I was wearing one of those like Night at the Roxbury shirts with but like a white version, but like tzitzit, you know, like tzitzit. And then at some point, yeah, I felt like I was like on, you know, in like Chelsea. I was like, okay, this is a little bit.
Basically,
it's a little fruity.
For the folks at home, tzitzit.
Yeah.
Okay, really, really, what it's called is a talit katan.
Yeah.
Okay, a talit is a garment that we wear. If you have a four-cornered garment, it says straight in the text of the Torah. Yeah. You're supposed to put fringes, and these fringes on the corners of the garment. Okay. Yeah. And these fringes are supposed to remind you of the 613 commandments. We can talk about that another time, how looking at them reminds us. Okay, and there's supposed to be a blue thread there, which is this special royal blue color, which is from a dye which is only produced by the special snail that So it's actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But the actual garment itself is only really, I mean, technically speaking,
Yeah.
Or ideally, I shouldn't say technically. Technically, even the mesh is allowed, but ideally,
Yeah.
it should be either made of wool
Yeah.
or linen.
Did I ever tell you the my German chick story with tzitzit?
No, but I really want to hear it.
So, okay, I'm gonna try to make this as I guess PG-13 rated as possible, or maybe even PG. So this is like 2 weeks into yeshiva, dude. Exactly, actually 10 years ago. My God, time flies. So I'm in yeshiva. So my friend who actually made Aliyah shortly after I did. Actually, he's Israeli. He came back to Israel. And he was also becoming kind of like parallel to me, Bal Tshuva, whatever, but he never went to yeshiva. So basically in the beginning we both lived in Tel Aviv, and then I went to Jerusalem, I went to yeshiva, and then he was like, hey man, like he just like, all right, screw this. He decided to move to Jerusalem. But he didn't go to yeshiva, so he was kind of like just doing his own thing, working from home.
Are you talking about Shmalik Shmarit?
No. Who? No. Who?
No. I forget.
No. He's an Israeli guy. So he's half Moroccan, half Ashkenazi. So he calls me up one day. He goes to me. Oh, so this guy. Just to backtrack a little bit, when he was living in Jersey, this is when he wasn't really serious about marriage, and he was just doing whatever the hell he wanted. He was just having fun with this German girl, like German, who came to work in New Jersey as an au pair, take care of kids.
What a prick.
No, so when he was doing that,
it's not nice.
Listen, no, when he was doing that, his Moroccan uncle came up to him and he said, this is before he moved to Israel. He goes, "Oh, so blank her for the Holocaust." Okay, so now we fast forward like about a year or two, and we're both in Israel. So he calls me up one night. This is like I'm like in yeshiva hanging out, and I actually used to go out in the evenings, to town, to like Mike's place and all these places. He calls me up. He's like, "Dude, I need your help." I'm like, "This sounds dire, man. What do you need?" He's like, "I need you to come out tonight." He's like, "Guess who's here?" So and so, and she's here with her friend, also another German chick. So I'm like, "What do you want?" Okay, so I'm like, "What do you need me to do?" He's like, "Dude, I just need you to come out with me and just make sure I don't do anything stupid." Fine. Because he was kind of in that period of like he's trying to keep it Shabbat and trying to do the right thing, but at the same time he's fighting his Itzaharas and all those things, whatever. Fine. So I'm like, at that point, Mr. Jeans, T-shirt, tzitzit, and kippa, still slightly longer hair than I have now. Mode. Okay. I meet him in this bar where a lot of like secular Israelis go to, but it's like in town, you'll see some fromies, but not too many. And so we meet up there. So the four of us are sitting there. So the girl that he knew from before, she remembers me. Like I remember her. And then there's her friend. And so we're sitting there, and then her friend, we're talking, we have a couple beers. Her friend goes to me. She sees my tzitzit. She points to my tzitzit, to the tassels, and she goes, "What are those?" And then I go, so I just said simply, when you look at them, they're supposed to remind me of the commandments. Fine. And she goes, "Yeah, but what are they? Are they just like hanging from your jeans, or they're like, what are they attached to? Like, are they just?" I'm like, "Oh, they're attached to. There's a garment underneath." She's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, and I pull up my T-shirt to show it. It was the mesh, and I go, "Oh, this is armor." And then you know what she goes to me? She goes to me, "So you're saying you don't want to have sex?" And I go, "I didn't say anything about wanting or not wanting. I'm just saying."
Wait, I feel like I missed something. When did sex come into this?
I don't know. I also felt like I missed something. And I said, "No," I said, "I didn't say anything about not wanting or wanting. I said, this is armor." and that was like the end of that segment of the conversation. And
What the hell?
And
Maybe she was saying like that mesh looks so queer that you must by wearing it you're communicating that you don't like that.
I know she would know. Dafka, she was asking me what the hell is it, and I said it's armor, because to me it was like armor. You know that I found interesting at that time. A friend of mine in yeshiva said that we're not chayav to wear it at night, tzitzit at night, only in the day. And I said, if anything, you should be chayav to wear it at night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, so later on we're walking.
Very interesting.
We're walking, and it turns out they were staying at those like hostels that like European non-Jews like to stay in, like the Arab Quarter, whatever. So we're walking, and then we get to like like the road that starts like approaching Jaffa Gate. So then they're like, "Oh, do you guys want to come?" Like basically like inviting us to where they're staying. And then my friend who's like in front of me turns around to me and in Hebrew goes, Omer, no, say something. In Hebrew he's like Habaita. Oh, and then I go Habaita, oh Habaita, and then I'm just like, oh guys, like I really, I have class tomorrow super early. I gotta wake up. I really, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, yeah, I also gotta wake up for work. And then like, so we basically just like, oh, like okay, oh, too bad, whatever, So me and then me and him start walking back towards the center of town, and he's like, dude, thank you so much for saving me. You have no idea what I could have done had I been by myself. And I would have like defiled the old city of Jerusalem. It would have been really bad for him. But just this whole thing of like, yeah.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I was
Can
just,
I tell you?
yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a kind of like a very short version of that, but it's not to do with me.
Yeah.
When I was in Antigua, we lived in this place called Jolly Harbor, and it was basically, you have like rich Europeans who have vacation homes there.
Yeah.
You have medical school students, which we were a part of, just me and a bunch of Indian guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had other Europeans who were there doing various jobs for various companies. So one of my friends, he was doing, I'm not going to, because he's kind of a high profile guy, sort of, in his sphere. So I'm not going to say his name or even say what his job is. Okay. But he's, oh man, I really want to say where he's from, but I can't.
Yeah.
Where he's from a Northern European Germanic country.
That's funny.
And he's not Jewish,
Sweden?
And he has but not too far.
Okay.
Not too far.
Okay.
Okay. And he has a semi French sounding name. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh.
Okay? Now I don't know. I don't think you know him, but
okay.
But anyway, so it's like let's put it this way. He's from the kind of like the I'm not anyway. So we would go to this bar in Jolly Harbor, okay? And it was like there's a marina there, with sailboats and stuff like that. So there's a bar there, and we would basically go drinking there every night. We were all basically alcoholics while we were living there, like straight up legit alcoholics.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have what I thought was about 4 rum and cokes a night, but what I was actually having, I didn't realize, was 4 Bacardi 151s a night.
Oh yeah, that's rocket fuel, bro.
Each one of them was like 4 rum and cokes. I was having 16 rum and cokes a night.
You were turning yourself into like a SpaceX.
I didn't realize that was happening, right? and the reason that was happening was because the bartender, who I can't say her name, would do that.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
Yeah.
Okay? Not gonna Okay. It didn't work. But I did enjoy getting that drunk. That's all I can say. Okay? So we were one of these nights we were drinking, and they always have like kind of like fresh batches of tourists, like periodically, coming from like from Europe.
In summer camp, we used to call it Novaya Smena.
Yeah, there was like the new shift, right? Exactly. So one of them, they came to the bar, so there always be like basically like new new supplies of girls, basically, right?
Yes.
And so I'd like to point out this is way before I was married, thousands of years prior to marriage.
You should do that in a Bill Clinton voice. I just want to point out this is way before I met Hillary. I did not have.
We should debate the meaning of is.
Okay. This is years before I met.
Anyway, so this guy, this friend of mine, he's an engineer, right? And he whatever, he's okay, but he's a little bit of an uptight guy. Okay, he's not fully comfortable and a little bit shy, although I'm not sure why. Okay, just personality. Yeah. And so we were drinking, and then there was a girl across the bar, pretty girl, and she was I guess she was trying to get his attention, right? And it didn't he wasn't like that interested because he's a little bit of a snob. He is. Yeah. Okay, he's somewhat of an aristocratic type nature, and apparently
it's called sophisto.
Yeah, he was one of these. Yeah, so but the problem was he wasn't drunk enough yet. Yeah. Okay, so she was sitting there, kind of like for a few hours, she was with her friends and she was trying to get his attention, and then I think I want to take a leak. I came back and he had I saw them kind of like speaking to each other, and then I saw her leaving with her friends. So I was like, "Hey man, what happened there?" He goes, "Oh, I talked to her. Oh, she's okay. She's okay." I was like, "So like." He goes, "Yeah, whatever. She's interested." I'm like, "All right." So then we sit there and they leave, and I look at him and he looks at me. I'm like, "You idiot!" Right?
Wait, what?
All of a sudden, you see this like desperate look on his face. He's like, "Oh my god, we gotta go find her."
Wait, we gotta go what?
Around in a golf cart. Listen, we were driving around pissed drunk in a golf cart. Okay, that's how people got around there. Looking for this girl.
And he realized that she ran away, and then he has to go chase her?
No. He realized that he effed up.
Oh.
Because the alcohol hit him right at the right time. And now he realized, shit, that's the girl I was, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's funny to see that moment when somebody realizes that they screwed up. You know what I mean?
Dude, it sounds like something.
The panic.
It sounds like something out of like a Rob Schneider movie where like Rob Schneider was like.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was funny to see that guy fall apart because he's usually stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
I'm an important engineer type guy, and he was.
Yeah.
But then, when the drunkenness sets in at a certain point in the night, you see all that collapse. you see this desperate look at his face. I gotta go find that lady. Hilarious.
Listen, this is the epitome of what the guy. This guy that I mentioned is talking about with humanity. People are right now, they're kind of like very, very stoic about, the situation, and you come to them and you say, the stuff that you put in your body, there's a problem, and they are very like, well, the science is this, and this and that and the other, and the safety and the whatever, and and all these kind of things, and billions of people took, and largely there's no issues, and that. And at some point, there's gonna be that like moment where there's gonna be like just a sudden breakdown. Where people are gonna get in golf carts and drive around in figure eights all over the damn place.
It was so much fun, man. It was so hilarious. We would also, while we were looking at it, it had just like finished raining.
Yeah.
Because it rains all the time there, and So I was driving the golf cart, and he was sitting on the right side. So I kept veering into like trees and bushes and stuff like that, and he would be just covered. It's hilarious. You know what he did to me to get me back?
No.
So we were driving in the city there, the main city in Antigua is St. John, right? So we would go to the city, and it's actually kind of like it's a relatively like small little island. It's not very populated. There's like 70,000 people max.
I was there when I was 10 years old or 11 years old off a cruise.
Right. It's not very populated, but you still, and in terms of crime, there's some crime going on, but it's relatively minor.
Yeah.
But if you go to certain parts of town, you got some thug life type dudes there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. It's like the movie. It's like the movie with what's his name, with what was it, with DMX? When he goes to Jamaica, that kind of deal.
I never saw that movie.
You know what I'm talking about? Was
No,
it was it DMX?
I
I think it was either DMX or Tyrese.
Not sure.
What was it called? Was it It was either Juice or no, it wasn't Juice. I'm sorry, it's not Juice. It was.
This took place in Jamaica?
Yeah, hold on. Drug. When he's doing like he was like dealing heroin. It was heroin, Dafka, and he goes to like.
In Jamrock? Really, I never heard that.
It was called Belly with DMX.
Never saw it.
You never saw Belly? So there's a scene where he goes to like Jamaica, and then there's some guy pulls up with like a. He pulls up with the See, they even had the clip, the Jamaican. So he pulls up in like this tinted, like super, because over there you're allowed just like the craziest tinted windows, like dark. The movie was 1998. So yeah, so he goes to Jamaica and it's this whole thing.
Great story, Greg. Thanks for interrupting my.
Sorry.
My.
But you see like they show the level of crime and it's in Kingston.
Right, but that
crazy.
So Antigua is nowhere near that.
Okay.
Like, dude, Jamaica is like 15 million or 7 million people living there.
Yeah.
Antigua has like 70,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so but you still, like there's a couple of guys who sometimes you got like bored locals, who want to be badasses and stuff like that. But there's no serious criminals in Antigua unless you're talking about the finance guys. Yeah. That's something else. Okay, yeah. So, but there were break-ins and there were people who got attacked. There have been scuffles. And, Anyway, so we're driving in St. John, and so this song, we're listening to the radio. You know that song, Two of Hearts? It's like two of hearts, two hearts that beat is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Susie Q or
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? One of those, right?
The freestyle stuff.
Two hearts that beat. Like one of those really super embarrassing song that if you're a guy, you turn it off right away, right? And so this is what he did to get back at me. Yeah. He blasted it, and then we stopped at a traffic light. We had these like dudes hanging out, right? And he had the power windows. I couldn't He made the windows go down, right? Right as we were like right next to them, like I could feel their breath. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was just blasting Two of Hearts, and man, that was he really got back at me. That was true revenge.
That's hilarious.
Now, do you understand how it lasted so long? Yeah. We were at the traffic light. It felt like a year. It was probably like 45 seconds. Yeah. It was the longest 45 seconds ever.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, these like dudes, like these stone-faced, like Caribbean black dudes, just looking at you, like, and they go like this. You know how Israelis, when instead of saying "lo," they do that.
Yeah, I know. I hate that.
So Caribbeans, they go like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
I know.
It's kind of like they suck on their lower lip.
Yeah. Right?
And it's not like it's not like a kissing. It's just basically like, nah, man, nah, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. And they all looked at us like that. Their head tilted to the side. My friend is dying laughing. Yeah. I'm not feeling well at this moment. And that's revenge. There you go.
Hilarious. Dude, can I tell you who was in this movie in Belly? I'm just reading the cast.
Sure.
DMX, Nas, T-Boz Watkins. What's her name? The girl from what's that band?
TLC.
TLC. So she's T. I don't know, TLC. And then you got Method Man was in it. Kurt Loder was in it. And then Frank Vincent, remember the shoeshine box guy from he played in Goodfellas and like Frank Vincent, you know what I'm talking about? One of the mafia guys, sure. The guy with the gray hair. And then and then you know who played in it? Jen Gatian. Whose daughter is it? Peter Gatian.
I don't know.
Peter Gatian. Who's Peter Gatian?
I don't know who Peter Gatian is, bro.
Peter Gatian was the owner of Tunnel and I believe Sound Factory. He was the guy that battled New York City every single day to keep the clubs open. He was the famous club owner.
Is he the guy with the patch, with the eye patch? That's the guy. There's like a guy with an eye patch. He was like he owned Limelight when it was Limelight.
Yes.
That guy.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. He's from Canada. Actually, is that it? Or maybe that's his niece. The kids are like, it's a person who's related to Peter Gadian. Yeah, Jen Gadian. That's his daughter. She was in the movie. And also Sean Paul, before he was like, I guess, super famous. The singer.
Yeah, sure. Sean Paul was huge when I was in Antigua.
Yeah.
You know, that soca music and all that. I never got into it.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, just interesting cast of characters in this movie. The kids are like, the guy, it's DMX, and he's like, he deals heroin. And
lovely.
Yes, it's very lovely. But no, but it's actually a quite good movie, and I was actually very, very surprised that DMX was actually very good in it. He was actually very good in it. He was a good actor.
The last time I saw DMX, there was a show that my wife would watch. I forgot the name of the show, but it was about a I think it was a Chinese family that they were in America, and they had like two small children, two boys. One of them was like gangster. You know, he was like 13. He was 13 when we were 13. And the show lasted for like 1 or 2 seasons. It was actually pretty good. And it's all about this kid who was dressed and thought and liked everything that I liked almost. It was like shocking how accurate they got that. It was like being 13 in the 90s. You know what I mean? That's when it was set, the show. I forgot the name of the show. But his little brother was like he was like the perfect Chinese son. You know, like that a Chinese mother dreams about. Like, you know, perfect in school, always helping, very obedient. And this kid he just wanted to be black, basically. And one of the episodes, DMX was there. But he was playing DMX.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about. I have to get to the bottom.
No, I mean, I forgot. If I can't even remember the name of the show.
Are you sure it was DMX
like
in that
years
show?
Ago, maybe less.
It was a sitcom?
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta get to the.
You know who the father was? The Chinese father?
No.
He was the guy who played Kim Jong-il in that movie with the two idiots. That was actually funny.
Oh.
What was that movie in North Korea?
Yeah. With that Jewish idiot.
And John.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna get to the.
That was actually a funny movie. That movie was actually funny.
Kim Jong-il comedy. Okay. The Interview, right? Yeah.
Yes,
It was
right.
called The Interview, and
that movie was
so Kim Jong-il was played by this gentleman by the name of Kim Jong-un, Randall Park.
That's the guy.
Randall Park, who actually is Korean, played in a thing called.
But he played a Chinese guy in the show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could kind of pass that off. Okay, there was a movie. No. Let's see. I'm gonna go to IMDb for a second, where he played Randall Park. Randall Park is an actor. Not filmography. Okay, filmography. Series. It was like, you say one season. Young Rock. No, this is.
What is it?
No, this is very recent. You're talking about, this is like like 10 years ago or something like that.
This is like 10 years ago, maybe a little less than 10 years ago.
Hold on. Svetlana, maybe?
No, man. All right, hold on. Let me find this. Randall Park, all right? You suck at this stuff.
IKEA Heights? No.
No, man. Hold on.
The 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. Oh my God, they made this like. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, not filmography. I'm just looking for the section where he goes to the shows.
No, but they're just.
All right. IMDb. I'm going to Wikipedia. See if maybe he has a Wikipedia. Yeah. All right. Hold on. So, television.
Nick Cannon presents Short Circuits.
So,
Universal Remote. Is that it? No, it's a movie.
No, hold on, I'll find it. Super Ninjas, CSI, The New Girl, The Office, Veep, Mindy, Newsreader, Peter. What the hell?
Are you sure that he was the guy?
Yeah, it looks like this guy.
Interesting.
Hold on.
Very odd.
What the hell, man? Where is it? It lasted for a season at least.
Yeah, but like a season is what, like
Fresh Off the Boat. That has to be it.
That's what it is?
Yeah, I think that is Fresh Off the Boat. Yeah, American sitcom television series, loosely inspired life of chef and food personality Eddie Huang. Hold on. Taiwanese American referred to.
TV series 2015. Is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have like
Fresh off the boat. That's the one.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was actually a funny show. It was pretty cool.
Constance Wu.
Yeah,
Hudson Yang, is this the kid, or Forrest Wheeler? Ian Chen.
Hudson Yang. That's the kid. Yeah, that's the little. That's us. This is a kid who we would hang out with probably if we were around.
That's funny.
He thought he was a gangster.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Louis Huang, Jessica Constance Wu. That's very funny. Let's see if it says. So you're saying DMX was in one of the episodes?
He was in one of the episodes. Yeah, it's the last time I saw him in anything.
George Takei played in this supposedly. He played some guy.
He likes nanobots.
Nanobots.
He's one of those guys.
It doesn't have any. I don't see DMX here. There's no. I guess he made a cameo.
I mean, it was kind of like it was like a 5-minute scene, something like that.
Yeah, that's funny.
This kid was like shocked because he loves rappers and DMX was like, it's me.
That's very funny. Fresh.
He's gonna give it to you.
Huh. Dude,
give it to you.
If anybody was killed, I think it was him. Dude,
I gotta tell you something. Now this is totally off topic of what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. But you do impressions of the Joker, right? The Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
version.
Heath Ledger. Yeah.
I just realized that Heath Ledger
stole.
I'm sorry. Heath Ledger stole Christian Slater's life.
He did. Yeah, you told me that before.
No, I was telling you how Jim Carrey stole Dwight Schultz's life.
You also mentioned that Christian. Oh, okay. Because you mentioned Christian Slater before, so I'm just having a.
I did.
I'm having a reference fart.
I was saying because I could just picture like Christian Slater saying, "I'm going to make my comeback. I'm going to be the Joker."
Yeah.
He would have actually been an awesome Joker.
Yeah, he would have been. If he played it correctly.
Because he has that, he had kind of. Because I always felt like he was trying to kind of be like a second, like the way that he talks.
A second Nicholson?
Yeah. He was trying to be another Nicholson.
Yeah, he was, a little bit.
You know what I mean? It's like, It would have been, and he would have been a good Joker. You know what I mean? So they just.
Yeah.
So poor Christian Slater.
Yeah. That's funny. Dude, they showed a video of when. Heath Ledger, was given the what is it called? The Oscar posthumously at the Oscars, and they showed videos of all of the people in the audience when he was awarded it. You've never seen so many simultaneously sad celebrities in your life in one room. They just showed everybody just sitting there reality bites. You know what I'm saying? Like they all realized that at that moment, they all were sucked out of their stupor of thinking that they're immortal, and they just sat there and they're just kind of like life hit them like a ton of bricks. you know, and they let it kind of like, they sat in it for a little bit, and then they just kind of went back to their stupid lives. Until Ricky Gervais, the controlled opposition, made fun of them for, you know, going with little kids.
Crazy.
So, you know, there was a 12-year different span of time between those two moments. But
I think the first time I was really shocked at a celebrity death, it seemed so senseless to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the way like people felt about Heath Ledger.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really, you know, because when Heath Ledger was like popular, I already was like zoning out of movies.
Yeah.
Because I was becoming like religious, and
Yeah.
I just kind of like rejected that whole thing.
Yeah.
At just in time too.
Yeah.
But to me, like the first Heath Ledger was actually River Phoenix.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Because he was like in two of my favorite all time movies.
Yeah, for sure.
He was in Stand By Me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he was in Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade. He was like in the beginning. He played young Indiana Jones, like right in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And then he was just dead shortly thereafter. And it was shocking.
Dude, I remember when he passed away. I didn't really know him so well. I had heard of him, and I remember.
Dude, I'm sorry. Wait. One more thing. He played in The Explorers.
Yeah.
Do you remember this movie where it was what's his name? Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
And River Phoenix.
Yeah.
And there was another kid. I forget his name. I don't think he may have not continued acting. But it was an awesome movie. That's one of those classic movies.
Here, I'm looking at the cover of the thing. Jason Presson.
Is the third kid?
Yeah,
right?
he looks like Jason Presson. Yeah, it was 1985. No, so when I was just gonna say when River Phoenix passed away, I remember I was in junior high school. Yeah, because I started 7th grade. I was starting 8th grade. I remember it was actually in the beginning of the year, 8th grade. And I remember there was this one girl, actually Israeli girl. I remember this like distinctly. I don't know why. This Israeli American girl, her parents are Israeli, who like was a little bit. She was known as like the girl who was like a little bit more well endowed than most.
Easy, Tiger.
No, like
Easy.
I'm telling you, no, I don't mean this from like a anything obscene.
I know. I just like saying "easy, Tiger" whenever I get a chance.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine. It's a year of the tiger, so yeah. She was she was known as that girl, and like I remember her. She always talked about. She was obsessed with Kurt Cobain. You know, like she was upset. She was constantly playing the Unplugged album and whatever. She was in love with Kurt Cobain. And then I remember like River Phoenix passed away, and I remember like her and like half of the girls in my class were like crying that day. They came to school crying.
Dude, you know how I felt? Can I just add to this for 1 second?
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment when in Stand By Me when they actually found the body of the kid?
Yeah.
Who was hit by? Remember the way they showed that? You know?
Yeah.
And that's how it felt.
Yeah.
That shock, that same shock. That's how I felt when I heard that he died.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. It made no sense. I was looking forward to seeing him in like other cool shit. Like it's like he was robbed.
Yeah.
You know.
And I feel like we didn't even know about his brother. You know, the first time I saw his brother ever was in Gladiator.
Yeah, dude, his brother is like he ain't no Frank Stallone. He ain't no Frank Zelenko.
He's freaking good.
He's more like Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, but his brother was good also.
Yeah. I know. No, he did a great job. Sure.
And like but the first time I saw him was like Commodus. You know.
I know he's such a prick in that.
Yeah, but that's like the perfect.
He did a great job.
He's amazing. That face, that that look, this like the koi. Swolich look,
I want to punch him.
No, yeah, I was sitting there for 2 hours going like in Russian. I didn't have the language to say it in English. Swolich.
You know why I hated him so much? Because first of all, if it was like a bunch of Romans killing each other, I wouldn't really give a damn.
Yeah.
But this is Marcus Aurelius' general.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius, that's our guy.
Not general. This Marcus Aurelius his son.
No, I'm saying like the guy who played Russell.
Ah, yeah. So that's our guy.
That was his main dude. Like that was like the righteousness of Rome.
So I didn't know
if there was any.
I didn't know anything about this whole Marcus Aurelius thing. I didn't know who he was in the context of the Jewish story at that time. At the time I saw this in the movie, it was it was like 20 years ago. I didn't know that stuff. But now that I think about it, he was like the good guy. But
why couldn't it be like one of Caesar's guys? Anyway, continue.
Yeah. No, that's dumb. We were Phoenix. Where were we even talking about? I don't know.
We just we veer off a lot.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about the Scythians, and then we started talking about Patrick Swayze. No, that was the other time.
Patrick Swayze. Dude, Patrick Swayze was actually a very good singer.
Roadhouse.
Dude, that's
she's like the like the wind.
Dude, you know what happened? I was.
That's it, right?
She's like the wind. Yeah, dude, I was like shoveling snow, and what happens is my mother will say
shoveling snow.
No, I was like shoveling snow, and my mom was just like, in Russian she'll say "Можешь почистить дорожку." So I'm like shoveling the snow, and I'm like, I'm just gonna make a road here, and then I'm just shoveling, and I go. And I'm like, you see me like shoveling, and I'm walking in the snow, and I'm just going. In the morning, it's like 9 in the morning. I'm going Roadhouse, road. I'm just like turning into Peter Griffin with a shovel in the snow by myself. It's freezing. There's no one around, and I'm just like Roadhouse. I'm just gonna make this Roadhouse, and I'm just like walking back. I'm like Sideshow Bob and Simpsons walking back and forth with my shovel, going Roadhouse. And then the neighbor comes out and he just sees me. I'm like Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. He's like, something's wrong with the neighbor boy. But I was when I was like 13, 12, 13, 7th grade. Me and my friend Mike Cavello. He's like, let's go try to make some money. We're gonna shovel snow. There's snow, just right. So we were out there for like, we were like we were going from door to door. Like you want us to shovel the snow, whatever, right? And then we went to this one house. And he's like, don't go there. The people are cheap. I was like, how do you know? He goes, that's my house.
You should have been like, that's my house. Road house.
Right. No, but then it's funny. It's like we spent like 3 hours. I think we made like $15.
Oh God, that's terrible.
And then we got hungry. We went to the pizza shop and it was all gone.
God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I remember I had one of those days. This is years ago when I was like 12 or 13 in Brooklyn. Walking around, like on Ocean Parkway itself. Hello?
Yeah.
These like Syrian. You hope you get like one of those Syrian houses, And it's just like, and then you get there and it's like this old person and they don't have any money, and they don't even want you to shovel anything.
Right, and then you feel bad for them. You just do it anyway.
Yeah, and you're just like, whatever. It's just like, I'm like, oh my God, all right, this is not. I realized it wasn't worth the time. It wasn't worth the time and the effort. I'm like, I got a good workout, but I was just like, ultimately, this is not.
It doesn't seem to be the best business model.
No. Especially in Brooklyn, where it's just like everybody, everybody turns you into a what's that word? Herb?
Yo, bro, you herb. Are you a herb?
You automatically become a herb.
Yeah, no, a herb. Okay, so really the way it's supposed to be like, that's what black dudes were saying at that time.
Yo, you herb.
Like, yo, this guy's a herb. Look at this herb, right?
I'm gonna snuff you. I'm gonna snuff you, you herb.
Yeah. And then the Russian kid's like, yo, bro, you a herb. You are a herb.
Actually, my friends.
Look at this herb.
Actually, my friends were Russian, but they were kind of like wannabe Guidos because we were already kind of Americanized. So you're walking around and go, yo, you herb. You heard. I'm like, heard or herb? Oh, you herb. And then it extended into like, we play roller hockey. So it's like, yo, you play hockey like a herb.
Dude, my accent when I was growing up was so Brooklyn.
Horribly
it was
Brooklyn.
So Brooklyn that my Italian friends were embarrassed around it. They're like, this guy is so he's so primitive with this. Listen to the accent, and they sounded like they're from, it's crazy. When it took me. I tried to adjust it a little bit, as I was getting older, and I realized I had a problem when I first moved to Florida, right, and I was still smoking at that time, so I went into the store and I'm like, let me get a pack of Parliaments, right? And then the person he would give me a pack of Pall Mall.
Yeah.
You know, that's another cigarette brand, Pall Mall.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Parliaments. And he's like, Pall Mall.
Yeah.
I'm like, Parliaments.
Yeah.
He goes, why don't you say so? I'm like, I thought I did. Damn.
Yeah.
No one could understand me.
Parliaments.
Yeah. Right.
You know, see, in Russians it's like, я курю парламент.
Парламент.
Это парламент. Ты можешь мне взять 100, парламент 100?
100, да, иди купи, 100. На тебе 20, иди
О,
возьми мне
нету 100.
Картон.
Я не могу курить эти regular size. Только 100. Только 100 мне бери. И не ментол. Только не ментол. Там этот самый, там химия, chemical.
Dude, I discovered this amazing thing. I was hanging out with my friend. This is already in high school. This is like the 10th grade, 11th grade. And this is like, I was already in Sinai Academy at this time. So I was hanging out with my friend Isaac Mizrahi. He's like a commercial airline.
Not the gay designer?
No, not that guy. This is a realizing.
Not the demon beast?
Well, I don't know if Isaac Mizrahi is a demon beast.
Okay.
I don't know that. You know, he could be a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay. He's I think, he's a homosexual, but he could be a great man. I have not heard a word about him for many years.
For a very long time, yeah.
Yeah. So, but he was a famous designer. That's pretty much all I know. And I have no reason to believe he's a jerk.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But this is not that Isaac Mizrahi. This is a different Isaac Mizrahi. This is more of an Israeli kind of Isaac Mizrahi.
Yeah.
Okay? So, who flies airplanes.
Yeah.
So basically, his dad, we were hanging out, and his dad's like, go to get carton Parliament. And so we're like, I don't know, I think we're both 15, right? He's a little bit like shorter and skinnier than me.
Yeah.
So he goes to the store and he tries to get it, and they don't give it to him, right? Because he looks too young. Yeah. So I was like, give me the money, right? I go in there. I'm like, oh man, I just sent my little brother in here to get he goes, can I get the carton of Parliament? He's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. He's like that, the guy's like, oh my friend, I'm sorry. I have to be careful. Right? I didn't look any older than him. I think it's just the way that I came in there.
Yeah.
And the attitude that I had.
No, it's called walk in like you own the place. That's it. It was kind of. I was like, holy crap! You can actually do this kind of stuff. It's crazy. Yeah.
It was like flirting with like. I'm not saying acting, but it was like almost like a con.
Well,
I was like, we can take this on the road.
I was just gonna say if these pricks on television can convince people to put garbage into their bodies, then you and I could do anything.
Dude, I convinced this when I was in like the 5th grade. Dude, one of the things that I was really good at as a kid, you can ask pretty much anybody, like my parents. I could entertain people for hours. Adult, I'm like 8. I could sit at a bar.
Yeah.
And they would just listen to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I convinced this girl.
Oh, you're like Jonah Hill's character on SNL. He's like saying funny things at the hibachi thing.
Not that obnoxious.
I'm 6, and then he's like, I'm 6. What do I know? I'm 6.
No, I wasn't. That was just a very obnoxious character. It was funny though. No, but I convinced this girl that I was. There was this movie in the '80s called Daryl. Okay, it was like a sci-fi movie about a kid who was he was like a robot kid, right?
Oh, I know this. Yeah.
Right. He was created by the military to be like a very sophisticated AI robot.
Yeah.
But he got out, and he's like a real boy, and then a family adopted him, right? And they loved him, and he was like a real boy.
Yeah.
I convinced her that I was his stunt double.
Oh, that's hilarious. What the hell?
This is a smart girl, I was like, holy crap! I have powers that I could use for evil, and I sensed it right there.
Dude, you want to hear something crazy? When I came to America...
By the way, I decided not to use them for evil. I just like to point that out.
Dude, listen to this.
You're gonna create a clip where you just hear me end with, I discovered I have these powers to use for evil, and you're just like, you're gonna Farrakhan me again.
No, dude. You know what's funny? A kid did that to me. he pretended that he was. I didn't realize he pretended that he was a robot kid. This was in I remember he came to America. This is like 1980, beginning of 1988. I remember going to the home of whatever. My uncle had this like. His friend who is a lawyer. He's still a lawyer, and he had this apartment on Park Avenue. Or Upper West, Upper East, one of these places. And I remember my parents dropped me off. Oh, it was basically like my uncle was watching me because my parents, I think, went to like Chicago or something. It was right. It was right when we came to America. So we go to the home of this guy, and his son was like, I guess my age or a little bit older. He starts doing this whole like, oh, I'm a robot boy routine. And I actually thought he was a robot. He was very good at acting like a robot. Like he was like seven years old, like an android kid. And at some point I got really, really scared.
Remember?
And I was trying to snap him out of it. I was like, this kid is a freaking droid. Dude, you literally like called up like a file in my brain.
You know, because you said this, I want to say the following story.
Oh my God. And then, by the way...
I reserve the right to have it edited out.
Really quickly, by the way, right after that, I remember the sitcom with the kid? It was a sitcom like that.
Vicky the robot?
It was a boy and a girl sitcom where they're both robots.
I don't know about the both, but there was a show called Small Wonder.
Yes,
with little girls.
Yes. And I think that's where he got that from. Because I saw Small Wonder and I was like, wow.
Man, I remember the theme song. It was like Small Wonder.
Yeah. The girl was a robot. Yeah.
Yeah. Vicky the robot.
Vicky robot. But the kid, by the way, this kid, the son of my uncle's friend, he looked like the boy in that sitcom. Which is it really threw me off. When I saw the sitcom, I was like, his name was Edzik. I was like, Edzik? What the hell? The whole thing just like, I don't know, really effed me up.
Crazy.
Anyway.
That show came out. That was like around the time of like Punky Brewster and like Webster.
Small Wonder, Punky Brewster, all that stuff. 1980, 85. From 85 to 89.
85, yeah.
So I was like, dude, I was like freaked out. This kid's acting like a droid. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is America? Like little kids know how to act like robots?
Dude, I think the kid, oh my God. I think that kid was the same kid from Flight of the Navigator.
I don't know what that is.
Awesome 80s classic, like kid sci-fi.
His name is Jerry Supiran, the actor.
The kid, right? Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Filmography. Flight of the Navigator. No. All right, I guess I was wrong. That can happen time to time.
Yeah, his name was James. He was already like 12. Interesting.
But it's funny that Flight of the Navigator. You know who's in that movie? Johnny Fever was in that movie.
Johnny. Oh, that same guy.
Yeah, Dr. Johnny Fever. Yeah, the guy who passed away yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Flight of the. Wait, wasn't that like a video game they turned that into?
They might have turned it into a video game, but it was one of the best sci-fi ever.
Flight of the Navigator. Oh, this game.
Today.
This game. This movie. I remember this movie.
It holds up even today, dude.
Yeah.
That movie was just incredible.
It was a magical movie. It's a Disney movie. It was Disney.
But it was like, I don't know. It was really.
Yeah, Joey.
You know that spaceship that they did. You know, that was based on real accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Of like from like legit people.
Abductions.
No, not well. Actually, no.
Experiences.
From Air Force pilots.
Wow. Who
saw stuff like that? Like
Dude, the movie's budget was like $9 million. They made $18 million. Interesting. It was one of the first
Yeah, I mean-
Hollywood movies to use extensive CGI effects.
Yeah, it was like the pioneer. Like they did a great job. They really did a great job.
It is known to be one of the first Hollywood productions to feature an entirely electronic music film score composed using a synclavier, one of the first digital multi-track recorders and samplers. The film has since become a cult classic and has a large cult following among science fiction and Disney fans. Yeah, cast.
I'm not. I wouldn't call myself a Disney person.
Mhm.
Nice people, but crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Disney.
So he was not in that movie. This kid. He was.
I
in
tried
that movie.
I tried to rip it off of Jim Gaffigan, but
That's
what'd you say?
He was not in that movie. This actor. It was different kid. It was a different kid. You know who? Did
Yeah, no, it kind of just looked like the kid, but he's a little
You know who did the voice of Max? I guess it's a machine. Paul Rubens. What's his name?
Yeah, Pee Wee Herman. Sure.
Mr. No Pants Man. Mr. No Pants.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, stop it. Oh, check this out. Filmmakers held auditions for the role of David Freeman. Several actors auditioned for it, including Joaquin Phoenix and Chris O'Donnell. So the two kids who were in Stand By Me auditioned for this. Neither got the role.
Yeah.
And this kid, Joey Kramer, got the role. And I don't even know if he acted.
He was good. He was good in that movie. He was actually he was the right kid for that movie. I think. I don't know why.
And that's basically it. He was nothing else significant after that.
Dude, if you're at Flight of the Navigator, that's it, man. You don't need any. You got enough cred. You can just kind of skate on through after that. You can do whatever you want.
You know who played in this movie? Sarah Jessica Parker.
I know that she was like she had pink hair.
Carolyn McAdams.
Right.
I remember this movie now. But yeah, dude, that was scary. This kid pulled a robot move on me. I was like, what the hell?
You know what my brother did to me one time? We took a family vacation, and I was maybe 6. He was like 13 or 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Or I was 5 and he was 12, something like that. So my parents made the mistake of leaving me alone with him in the hotel room, and where he seemed to commence pretending to be possessed by Cropsy.
Yeah.
For 45 straight minutes.
Wow. That's funny. Wait, possessed by what?
Cropsy is kind of like a Jason type monster.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god. Oh, he just made it up?
No. Cropsy is something that he heard. You hear that in sleepaway camp, right?
Ah.
Right. Cropsy is like this. He's like a Jason. He's basically a Jason.
Gotcha. Cropsy, like Cropsy Avenue.
Yeah, bro. Cropsy Avenue scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
God.
What the hell? It's like they made an avenue after this guy. Cropsy. I don't want to live in Cropsy. I didn't even want to live in Canarsie because it sounded like Cropsy.
No, you got to say it right. Canarsie.
I actually said it right, Canarsie.
By the way, they are getting, as of Sunday in Israel, they are getting rid of the Tav Yarok.
The what?
The Tav Yarok, the green pass, the passport. Israel to scrap, Israel's coronavirus cabinet, I love it. It decided to abolish its so-called green passport program for most places of entertainment, including hotels, restaurants, gyms, and movie theaters, effectively removing barriers to entry for the unvaccinated. Thank you for playing, or in my case, refusing to.
On that note, let's segue
into hey.
Actually, can I say something crazy? I want to segue into segues. Have anybody seen a Segway around?
Yes, they
were everywhere before.
They still give Segway tours in Jerusalem, all over the place. And
why did Segways disappear?
You know why? They didn't disappear. They became kind of not a thing. You know why? Because the guy who made it died on one.
Is that what happened?
I'll tell you. Here, hold on a second. Just give me a second.
It's kind of like rollerblades. They were all over the place and they're just gone suddenly.
Give a brother a minute.
All
Inventor Dean Kamen. Oh no, I think he's still alive. Never mind. Who's the guy that died on a
Dean Kamen is a guy, by the way. He's a scientist who works for DARPA. He's been working for DARPA for a long time. I know that guy. I don't know him. I've seen him on TV, is what I'm saying.
No, so who's it here? Died on a Segway. There was a guy. Yeah. Jimmy Hesselden. Accidental fall off a cliff while riding a Segway. Jim Hesselden was a British entrepreneur. Hello?
Yeah.
A former coal miner, Hesselden became wealthy by manufacturing the Hesco Bastion barrier system. Okay. In 2009, he bought Segway, maker of the Segway. Okay. Hesselden died in 2010 from injuries apparently sustained falling off from a cliff while riding his own product. His estate bequeathed to his widow and family was worth over $340 million. He was ranked on 400 here. But I don't think he he didn't invent it. Here, career. In 2009 he purchased the Segway company. But I think the founder, the inventor was Dean Kamen, this guy, in 2001. But then I guess this guy, Hesselden, bought it and died on a Segway. And that's why people were like, oh, so the owner of a Segway died on a Segway. They're like, okay, we're going to like calm down with the Segway thing. Here, in the morning of September 26, 2010, Hesselden was killed when he fell from a cliff footpath into the river wharf at the village of Thorpe Arch near Boston Spa. This is in Yorkshire, England. A Segway vehicle was found near him. The West Yorkshire coroner concluded that Hesselden had died of multiple blunt force injuries of the chest and spine consistent with a fall whilst riding a gyro bike, aka.
Damn.
That sucks.
Dude.
And after that, Segways became kind of like, we're not so sure.
Dude, I need 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
All right, Larry, 30 seconds here, time.
30 seconds.
By the way, U.S. Senator Ben Ray Lujan, a Democrat representing New Mexico, hospitalized after suffering a stroke. I wonder from where he would get this.
What's the guy's name again?
Ben Ray Lujan.
Okay.
He is... How old? He is not that old. 49? Dude.
That's not very old.
Okay. I just remember one thing. There's this whole compilation video of these Dems saying that they're not going to take the thing when Trump was about to release it. No way, no how. Kamala wasn't going to take it. Ilhan wasn't going to take it. None of them were going to take it. And by the way, I don't even think they still didn't take. I don't think they took it in the end.
They probably didn't take it.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, ugh. And these idiots who follow them right off a cliff. Right off a cliff.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And nobody bats an eye. You know what I'm saying? They just can't see that there's something shady here. It's so like, dude, I'm telling you, I literally feel like I'm watching a movie, and I'm watching the main character being duped, or he doesn't know of the sinister plot by the villain, and I'm yelling at the screen, and the characters in the screen cannot hear me because they're in a movie, they're on screen. They can't hear me. They just cannot hear me. I know that in the end they're gonna find out the truth. At the end of the movie, they found that it's always revealed, right? But more often than not. But like, I have to wait for that, and it's very difficult to watch. Like, you can't do anything. Have you woken even one person up? I don't think I have. I don't think I've been able to convince one person who's convinced in one direction to think in the opposite direction.
I may have convinced, maybe like that I know of.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6
really?
People.
Really?
But that's only by virtue of how many people were calling me trying to get in touch with my brother, and just ended up speaking to me.
No, but I mean like convincing them. In what sense? Meaning like I've spoken to people like who have taken the thing, were kind of on the fence about it, whatever. And I it's not that I convinced them. I gave them information that they didn't otherwise, they didn't know before. So that's different. But like
I talked a lot of people off the edge. Let's put it that way, off the ledge.
Oh, so I talked a friend of mine off taking the third. But I'm talking about convince philosophically that this is bad. On a philosophical, fundamental level, a person who already took 2 or 3 and somebody who diehard believes in it, to convince that person who diehard believes in it to snap them out of the trance. I have not managed to do this to even one person. There was one guy who, it wasn't by virtue of anything I did, he realized it himself because he saw a video of, Dr. Malone, this is like months ago, talking about, toxicity. And he respects Dr. Malone very much, and this guy knows about science. It wasn't anything I said. But then he quoted me on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, you were right to me." I was like, "What was I right about?" I was like, "Right about." To me, it was just like, the issues with the contracts and the the non-suing. The fact that I can't sue these guys. To me, that was the issue. Legal issues. But I haven't convinced one person, dude. It's impossible. They have to wake up on their own. They have to fall. There has to be such a crash. There has to be such a dramatic crash where these people just have it's like downfall. It's like Hitler in the bunker. Where it's just like a total, like what is it? The stages of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
They have to go through that on their own. There's nothing I can do. I try.
So, you make me doubt myself. It's possible that the people that I talked off the ledge were people who knew that it was wrong, but they were just pressured by their work, and I convinced them not to do it.
Off the ledge is something else. I mean, people who are convinced, like were these people convinced philosophically? They were convinced within themselves that this is the good science. I'm talking about people who believe that this is good science. Have you spoken to those kind of people? People who have to believe it, not because of work.
I have spoken to those kind of people.
And
a lot of times it's the children of people who are they're like, please talk to my child, please talk to my college-age daughter, please talk to my son.
And to tell them, oh, the children believe in it. And you've spoken to their kids?
Yeah.
And what did you tell them?
I told them everything that I know.
And what did they say?
They reacted like they didn't. Nobody ever said anything because there's nothing that you can say. There's nothing you can say. That.
Yeah.
You can dismiss it. You could be like, well, I don't, necessarily believe that, and just make a blanket statement, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what they've said.
None of them ever actually addressed any of the things any of the details.
They never do. Because if you do, then you have to look. It's like looking into the abyss. It's like Morpheus. Welcome to the desert of the real Neo.
That sounds more like the movie voice guy.
Welcome to the desert. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just like you gotta.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is little tortilla boy.
Yes. No, get down again. No. Dude, it's you gotta look in the black hole. You're asking someone to look into a black hole and see their reflection in the water there. It's fucking scary, dude. Pardon my language. It's like, hey everybody, you took crap. Believe it. What? No way. It's good science. You imagine when people like that realize that they actually did take crap? That's gonna be some shiznit, man.
It's crazy like that. Like in that video I sent you today, there's like that clip of Mousy. He was saying how Smouch.
Yeah.
He was saying that if you go against me, you go against science.
Yeah.
If you're attacking me, you're attacking science. Like he's science.
I'm from Brooklyn, but in reality, dude, there's a video of him where he said that you could get AIDS from a gay person by touching him, or you get AIDS from somebody by touching him. That's what he said. It's literally akin to like Eddie Murphy's. Yo, you want to kiss a gay? I want to kiss a girl who has gay best friend. You get the AIDS on their lips. That is like akin to saying that. But that was a comedy routine, not a freaking scientist.
Well, okay, so let's say if you have a cut on your finger and you touch a person that in the place where they had a cut, then technically, yeah, there could be, couldn't there?
Dude, it's like Karl Malone, who was afraid to play against Magic Johnson. Because he was like, what if we get a cut and we make contact?
I mean, is that can I am ignorant, so I'm asking a question. Like, is that a feasible possibility?
Dude, you would have to rub the two, fingers to the point of like starting a fire.
So it's like a lot of contact.
You have to it's got to be some. It's not that simple, most of the time, it's like sexual, transmission or sharing a needle. For this particular, for this particular affliction, you cannot merely touch someone and get AIDS or HIV.
I know. First of all, that's not even what I was saying.
I know. I hear like cuts, whatever. Yeah.
A cut on a cut. Like, if you're saying that that's not enough physical contact, I'll accept it. Fine. I just want to.
Yeah. No, like I remember there was a moment where like Magic Johnson had a cut. They took him out of the game. But then like Malone didn't want to play. Like it was like COVID. It was like Malone was being a wackadoodle. And they told him like, no, dude, that's not how it works. And he's just like, well, you never know, this and career and money and whatever, my bread and butter, blah blah blah. See, at that time, these guys were careful with their bread and butter. Today, for some stupid reason, they want to go except for like Kyrie Irving and a couple other guys, they want to go just take the crap and, go take the crap. I think most of them took either placebo or some kind of. I think most of them didn't even take anything. I think just the soccer players did. That's why
You know what it could be. All right, now this is just speculation. It's pure paranoid speculation.
Yeah.
Let's say a guy like Kyrie Irving, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say like, they tell like people from the elite, segment of society, right? Like I'm sure that celebrity like athletes consider themselves like that kind of thing. They make a lot of money.
Yeah, they date singers and actresses.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, somebody came to them and said, "Look, guys, there's going to be a change in the world.
Yeah.
The powers that be, the people in charge, there's going to be some big changes, and you guys are offered a seat at the table, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of people laying around, but you guys have the opportunity to be some of the people who get to stick around.
Yeah.
You got to play ball. You gotta say what we tell you to say.
Yeah.
All right, and then they say, look, we're gonna, you guys aren't gonna get the real stuff, right? Yeah. Everybody else is gonna get the schmacks, but you guys are gonna get like a placebo, right? It's gonna be like kind of like a photo op type thing, type situation. You gotta say, do it, to be responsible, and then, all right, you just keep your mouth shut, and you guys will be all right. Yeah. And then some of them, maybe a little more paranoid than the others, be like, wait a minute, what if these guys are lying to us? Yeah. Like they weren't against it. The only reason that they began speaking out against it is because they began to think that they really weren't part of the elite.
Yeah.
They were worried about that. Had they felt that they had a secure place, they probably wouldn't have said.
Not only that, or maybe they told one of them or two of them that you're going to be kind of like the guys that pretend to be, anti or whatever, or like you'll be the guys. You'll be like I guess what is it? Controlled opposition kind of thing, guys.
Control so everything. See, you're getting more paranoid than me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So now again, it goes back to the question: what did they do with the soccer players? They just screwed up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess the soccer players I guess there's way more soccer players.
Yeah, I guess they're just using them as like the guinea pig group.
That's probably like the biggest population of athletes in the world are soccer players. Because every country has soccer team.
That's true, but you see that the top guys are getting hurt by this, and it's hurting their own businesses. These teams, these franchises in Europe, the top guys are, dude. Sergio Aguero, he's like one of the top strikers in the world, if not the top. He had to retire. He was 33 years old, but he's not that old. This is Maradona's son-in-law. He had to retire. He had to that's it, hang him up. Fuck, man. Terrible, dude. The guy was crying his eyes out in this thing, in the retirement ceremony, a conference. This guy, like Matt Letizia, he used to play for Southampton. They filmed him in an interview, and he was just like, "Listen," he's like, I remember these situations were few and far between. And he goes, he named like two names. This guy, Mark Vivian Foe, this was like 20 years ago. This black guy collapsed. And there was like another two guys. He goes, there was a couple of high profile stories of these guys. And he goes, the reason you remember them and their names is because there were so few of them.
Right.
Now you remember like the top guys, and the other guys you don't even know who their names are, what their names. You just like, they're plotting every 2 seconds.
What is it, like 400 people now?
It's like 400, yeah. You're talking about soccer players, not just soccer, tennis, cricket. Guys, it's mostly guys like in non-American. I'm telling you again.
That might be another reason why it's soccer players, because they know that like people in those countries, right? Like the people are not the type of people that are going to rise up.
Yeah.
Americans are going to rise up.
Yeah, if this happened with a slew of basketball players and a slew of especially hockey players, first of all, it'd be very, very noticeable because you have like a small, like area. It's not like a soccer field where it's just like one guy in a giant field. Or even like football, you could tell. But like with hockey, it would happen immediately because these guys are flying up and down the rink, for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it would just be bad. It would not be a good PR look. And you would not be able to explain that away. These guys would be plotzing all over the place. And their work rate is much higher than soccer players. And again, I was talking to somebody. They said, they think it's aggravated because when these guys are pumping their heart, it aggravates whatever's going on in there, and that's what's causing this. It's interacting with the work rate plus the stuff that's in there, as opposed to just you're sitting here and stationary and not doing anything. So now imagine hockey player. I mean, that would be a disaster. My God, Haas Shalom. So.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, it's not so funny, but I think about, like Henrik Lundqvist, the guy that was a goalie for the Rangers. He actually, he retired because of heart stuff. Nothing serious, just some kind of irregular, this is before COVID. This developed, and I could only imagine if he had taken this crap. Even after retirement, just as a human, as a civilian, like it's just, I don't know. That's what I try to explain to my friends. I'm like, I'm not a professional,
no problem,
I'm not a pro athlete, but I played sports, and I was like, and I can understand. I understand what goes into these things, and I understand people who are, this is their parnassa.
No, it's devastating. It's this whole time you've been talking about this.
So I'm sorry.
Getting bummed and
I apologize. Anyway,
I'm really, really bummed right now.
Let's move on to the hay.
I don't know, man. I'm in the swamp of despair.
Let's move on to high 18. High.
I need help, man.
Do you need? Maybe the high will lift you up. Let's get into high, like into life.
Dude, yeah, I mean, dude, I'm looking at this headline on the Gateway Pundit, and it's the only thing that I've seen today, in terms of stories about what's going on.
Yeah.
That might be more of a bummer than what you just told me.
Which is what?
I mean, I know about what you just told me. I try not to. It's
trying to think about it. Yeah.
So basically, it says founder of Detroit Satanic Temple.
Oh my God.
Snuffs out life with abortion pill on live TV during interview with pro-life activist. Founder of Detroit Satanic Temple takes an abortion pill to kill her baby on live TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So many people who try and struggle so hard to have a child, have a healthy child, and it's people. It goes. It's like, why does God keep blessing these evil pricks with life and longevity and resources and just? I know what you're gonna say, but it's like enough. Sickening.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are this. Even though you may not be able to tell from conversation that we've been having this entire time, right?
Mm-hmm.
This series of lecture, not a series of lectures. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
series. We're trying to talk about Moshiach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I guess the only thing we could say is like we talked about a bunch of messed up stuff, showing how fractured the world is, and therefore Moshiach. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah.
That's the only way out.
It's the only thing we can say for ourselves.
Yeah.
In that regard.
So, right. So so the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that our job to bring Mashiach, to hasten his coming, is to learn about Mashiach, learn as much as we can. Okay. And so we decided to start doing this by studying the word Mashiach itself. So we're going letter by letter. Okay. Mashiach is spelled Mem, Shin, Yud, and Het. And so we are, we tried to do the letter Yud. We screwed up royally. Okay, gonna have to do a replay on that one of these days, soon perhaps. But we're gonna just try to finish up the word, and we're gonna read about the last letter in the name of Mashiach, which is the letter Het, which is a very interesting letter. If you see it in print, right, like in the print books, it looks like the pi symbol.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like two legs and a stick on top.
Yeah.
But that's not what the letter Het actually looks like.
Yeah.
Okay? The letter Het is actually composed of the two different letters, the two previous letters in the alphabet.
Yeah.
Okay? The letter before the Het is a Zion.
Yeah.
And the letter before the Zion is a Vav.
Yeah.
So a Het is a Vav and a Zion next to each other with a little canopy connecting them. That's what it would look like in the Sefer Torah, in the Torah scroll.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which is very interesting. Okay. Now, I'm gonna start reading. Okay. I'm gonna try to minimize all the math stuff. Okay. So, bear with me. And Greg, you got to listen.
I am listening.
You got to go like this once in a while, like like that.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. All right. Okay. So the letter Het. So we're gonna hope that Greg is gonna pay attention this time.
Yes, and not pass out.
And not pass out. Okay. So the letter Het, it has a numerical value of 8. Okay, and it fulfills as the word Het. Okay, so it's spelled the spelling of the name of the letter Het is like this: Het, Yud, and Tav. Okay, and it has a mispar katan of 13. I'm not going to get into that, but it's a very interesting, right? Okay, the same, and it's the same as the word Echad, which is 1. Right, the word Echad has a gematria of 13. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So sometimes, there's a connection there between the Echad, the idea of a unity, and 8, and 13, and 1. It's all connected. So sometimes the fulfillment, meaning the spelling of the name of the letter, is spelled Het and Tav. Okay. There's a few exceptions in the Hebrew language. There are certain contexts where the spelling of the name is slightly altered for a very, very specific purpose. Okay, it's beyond the bounds of this discussion.
Can you hold on 1 second? Just 1 second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's what my dad goes. He's like, "Would you have to quit bus?"
What's that thing you say? Papapira, papapara,
Papapia, papapa, papapia, papapa.
You know what that reminds me of? There's I don't know, there's some scene in some movie with Walter Matthau where he was like singing some kind of Italian opera.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like singing papapira, papapara, papapira, papapara. Something like that. I don't know, maybe somebody knows. Could have been a grumpier old man. Maybe one of them.
See,
Yeah.
even that stupid movie is better than most stuff today. That grumpier old man.
Dude, F you. That movie is not stupid.
No, I'm saying it was like considered. It was considered stupid at that time. Yeah, Mathau's opera.
By idiots.
It's from hold on, I'll play it for myself. Hold on. He's singing, he's in a car. It's called Hopscotch, 1980. No?
Hold on. All right. I opened this can of worms. So
Anyway,
I
don't know. Whatever.
Hold on. Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau. Opera. Let's see what happens. Matthau's opera. Hold on.
Hopscotch.
I think you're right.
Dude, you know what I was thinking? Like when after we spoke about the whole all these like different movies and stuff.
What
No, when we spoke about you know what I was thinking when we spoke about all this different movies, and then when I mentioned the kid with who pretends to be a robot, dude,
Yeah.
the amount of random crap that's in our heads.
It's not random, dude. It's all there for a reason.
No. I know it's there for a reason, but our ability to retain it is astounding. Can you imagine if we did this with Gemara? We'd be Ovadia Yosef.
Yeah. We're gonna have our chance. But I think, listen, if God wanted that, right?
Yeah.
He would have put us in a yeshivish family.
For sure.
All right. So
For
obviously, God wants us to talk about Small Wonder.
Small Wonder and Small Wonder and saving our friend from making a horrible mistake in the old city, with our mesh gay tzitzit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pure gayness. You know what I was thinking? Remember we were talking about Moonraker?
Yes.
And there's that scene where James Bond he appeals to the logic of Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy with the metal mouth.
Yeah.
He's saying, like, do you guys think that he's, that this guy, I forgot his name, who's the guy the bad guy in that movie? It's not Blofeld. It's, whatever, the bad guy.
Yeah. Blofeld, yeah.
No, it wasn't Blofeld, somebody else, but he wanted to destroy the whole world and wipe out humanity and restart it with perfect human specimens, right? So
Yeah.
he's saying, like, do you think that he's gonna? What do you think he's gonna do with you? He's gonna let you live and ruin his perfection? And so that's kind of like what happened maybe with some of these celebrities, where they realize, where I don't think they want us around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, because otherwise, had they had maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. Anyway.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay, so the letter Het spelled, the name of the letter Het spelled Het, Yud, and Tav.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a word. It means gracefulness, or it could be used to mean fear. And there's actually a connection between these two words, but that's okay. So an example of it is found in the verse. There's a verse in Genesis chapter 35, verse 5, which says, and there was a divine fear on the cities. Okay, so the word, Vayhi Hatat Elokim al Harim. Okay, so that's the context in which it was used as fear. Okay, it was an awe. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Which is related to the idea of grace, by the way. But okay.
Yeah.
Now, the letter Het is very similar in shape to the letter Hey. Okay, a lot of times people confuse them. So both of them belong to the guttural group of the Hebrew alphabet, which is made up of the aleph, the het, the hey, and the ayin. Okay, and by the way, when you are when letters are grouped together in the lingual group, right? Whatever group they're linked in, they can be interchanged with other letters according to in some contexts.
Yeah.
In Hebrew grammar. Okay, so. Again, so because Hey and Het are from the same guttural group, which is made up of Ayin, Hey, Het, and Aleph, okay? And they can be interchangeable for that reason. The letter Het represents the mitzvah of Milah. Did you know that? Actually, it makes sense because Milah is done on the Brit Milah. It's done on the 8th day.
Interesting.
And Het is 8, right? Okay. So, right, it's performed on the 8th day. Abraham, who was the first person to be commanded to perform the mitzvah of Brit Milah, he had the letter Hey added to his name prior to him being able to have children. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure why he added that little. Let me read that again. Did I miss something? It says, Abraham, who was the first person to be commanded to perform this mitzvah, had the letter Hey added to his name prior to being able to have children. Okay, maybe I'm going to say something ahead. Okay, the Het is composed by combining. Well, in there's different configurations, but you could think of it as the letters Dalet plus a Vav, right? Which have a total numerical value of 10. Basically, the way the letter Het looks is if you take a Dalet and you add a Vav directly underneath it without any space. So that takes the form of one of the acceptable halachic ways of writing the letter Het. Okay, there are 3 acceptable graphic depictions of this letter, which can be written in a Torah scroll. Okay, and this is one of them. Okay, so I'll read that again. The Het is composed by combining the letters Vav and Dalet. This is how Rashi actually brings it down, which they have a total numerical value of 10, right? Vav plus Dalet is 10.
Yeah.
Correct, Greg?
Yeah.
How's your Instagram doing?
My Instagram?
All right.
I'm not on Instagram, sir.
And a mispar, okay, and it has a misparketon of 1, okay, returning again to the unity of Hashem. Okay. Now, every 7th year is known as the Shemitah year. Okay. We're in a Shemitah year, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So every 7th year is known as a Shemitah year when all fields lie fallow. So the year following 7 such Shemitah cycles is known as a year of Yovel, the Jubilee. Okay? In the Torah script, the letter Het is composed from 2 Zions. Okay, it's joined by 2 thin lines that form its roof. Okay, so these double letters Zion represent the 7 Shemitah cycles, each one encompassing 7 years. Okay, that are immediately followed by the Yovel year, the Jubilee year. They are symbolized by the juxtaposition of the letters Zion and Het, because Het is right after Zion. Okay, which is itself composed from 2 Zions, the letter Het. Okay. Now, regarding the 5th, did you get that, by the way? Were you following that?
Yes.
It's like saying you have like 7 times 7, right? That's Zion times Zion, right? And then the year after the 7th Shemitah cycle, which would be the 8th year of that cycle, becomes the Jubilee year.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, regarding the 50th year, which is the Jubilee year, the Yovel, the Torah writes this. It says, You shall sanctify the 50th year, and you shall proclaim freedom throughout the land for all its inhabitants. It is a Yovel year for you, a Jubilee year.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10. Okay? So the numerical value of the word dror, freedom, right?
Yeah.
Because in the Hebrew, the word freedom is dror,
Interesting.
is 410. Okay? I know, we both know a guy's named Dror. So the same...
That's my rabbi.
Oh, right. That's right.
It's interesting.
I know a
That
Yemenite guy.
it's interesting that that's his name. That's my rabbi's name.
Yes, now you know the numerical value of his name is 410. Okay, and that is the same as the hidden spelling of the letter Het. Just think about it. Het is spelled Hey, Yud, and Tav. Tav is 400, Yud is 10. Okay, so furthermore, the letter Het represents the sphera of Bina, which is the 8th sphera when counting upwards from the bottom. There's two ways to look at the Sephardic chart. You can look at it from the top or from the bottom. So if you're looking at it from the bottom up, it's number 8.
Yeah.
Bina is number 8.
Yeah.
So that's its connection to Het. So, and it is through the power of this sphera, which is Bina, that freedom and redemption are effected. Okay. He's not explaining that, but that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. We have already explained how the composition of the letter Aleph, which is made up of the letter Aleph. If you guys can picture it, it's like a stick or like a line diagonal, and then you have a dot on the top right and a dot on the bottom left. Okay, and it looks kind of like this, kind of like it has an X shape sort of, but it's actually composed of 3 letters. The letter Vav, which is that diagonal line, and then the 2 dots are both Yuds.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what the letter Aleph is composed of. I mentioned yesterday how, like, the Hebrew alphabet, the letters themselves are composed of smaller, more fundamental letters. The smallest letter is Yud, and then the second most fundamental level is a Vav. So you could think of it as like Legos. When I was a kid, there was 2 basic Lego shapes. You had the square and you had the rectangle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of reminds me of this, where you have like a little square. Okay, that's the Yud, even though Yud is like a little round dot.
Yeah.
And then you have the Vav, which is the rectangle. And then you could build with those 2 different shapes. Okay, but even the Vav is just an extension of the Yud. It's just the Yud kind of like stretched down. In fact, the Yud itself is, you have to kind of like think about it as somebody holding a quill, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's holding a quill. They dip it into the ink, and then there's like a drop of ink on the edge on the very tip of the quill, and it drops onto the paper, and then that drop is the Yud.
Yeah.
And then when somebody takes the quill and then kind of like smears the ink down to create a line,
Correct.
That's the Vav. Okay, those are the kind of like fundamental steps of everything, really. But we'll get to that another time.
Yeah.
Okay. The point is, all the Hebrew alphabet is composed of Yuds and Vavs, basically. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now.
Interesting.
Okay, so we have, so the 8th sphera, okay, fine. We've already explained how the composition of the letter Aleph being made up of 2 Yuds and a diagonal Vav has a total numerical value of 26. So the letter Aleph in regular gematria is 1. But if you break it down by its components, right, what the letter is actually constructed out of, it's constructed out of 2 Yuds. Each Yud is 10, and the Vav is 6. So it has a regular gematria value of 1, but it also has this structural gematria, if you will, of 26. 26, as everybody probably knows by this point, is the numerical value of Yud He Vav He, the Tetragrammaton. Okay? So I'm sure that was a coincidence.
Purely.
Purely coincidence. Yeah. Okay. So the Aleph. Okay. So the Aleph was made up of 2 Yuds and a diagonal line, a diagonal Vav, and has a total numerical value of 26, which is the same as Yud He Vav He. Now the Mispar Katan of each of these 3 letters, which is the Yud, the Vav, and the Yud, it totals to 8. Okay, because 1 plus 6 plus 1 equals 8. That's the Mispar Katan, because you can't boil it down anymore. Okay, so it demonstrates a correlation between the letter Het and these and these 2 ideas. The letter Aleph in the way it's constructed, and by extension the name Yud He Vav He, the Tetragrammaton. Okay? So furthermore, being that the written name of Hashem, which is Yud He Vav He, is articulated as Adonai, right?
No.
Right? Can you explain that, Greg?
Can I explain why?
Yeah, like whenever we see the word in prayer, we see the word Yud He Vav He, but we say a different name of God. We say Adonai.
I mean, we don't know how to say.
We do actually.
I mean, we do, but we're not, so to speak, allowed. We're not allowed to say it's invoking. It's something that the sages and the, I guess, Kohanim also were able to invoke certain powers and realms and angels via saying that, so we don't understand how to use that power. So it was decreed that we are not allowed to say it. And as far as so I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know where actually that.
So the word Adonai is one of the names of God.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the name of God that is related to the world of Asiya, of Malchut.
Like Adon, like the Lord.
Adonai means my master.
Yeah, my master.
My Lord. Right. It means my Lord. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably this word Adonis.
Yeah.
Probably came from it.
Yeah.
But they turned it into a pagan thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, this word Yud He Vav He represents this name of God, Yud He Vav He, the Tetragrammaton.
Yeah.
It represents a certain type of relationship that people in the past had with God. Okay?
Yeah.
It represented a time in Israel when there was a direct cause and effect relationship with God. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
People, like nowadays, you never know, like if somebody's going through some kind of pain or some kind of suffering, you never know what that's about. It could be something that you did 1,000 years ago in a previous lifetime.
Yeah.
It could be something you did as a kid. You won't know. It's not we're not privy to that. But the people in ancient Israel, they were privy to that. There was this direct relationship. So there's even a disease that the Torah talks about, a special disease, which is unfortunately translated as leprosy, but it's not. It's Sarat,
Yeah.
It was a spiritual sickness that a person would get if they spoke slander.
Yeah.
If they spoke lashon hara, this evil speech against someone else, So it would start like this: if you said something, that was inappropriate about another person, then you would find a white spot on your house.
Yeah.
Started on your house.
Yep.
And if you didn't repent, then you would see it sometime later on your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you still didn't repent after that, it would appear on your skin. So this is a direct result of speaking slander. Now, and there were various punishments that were like instant, like what people call on the internet now instant karma.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had also instant reward as well, by the way. Okay. So people, they were living in a state of consciousness where they had this direct communication with God. They didn't have to wonder too much about why stuff was happening. Okay, it was a very high level of existence, a very high level of consciousness. Even though it may not seem that way if you read the Tanakh on the surface, but.
Can you hold on?
So
Can you hold on a second? Just 1 second, man.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
sure.
Continue.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Just
All right.
everything's drama. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, this name of God represented. It was related to this kind of state of consciousness, okay, which was available to people at that time because of prophecy, because of just the way the world was. It was a different place. Okay, we're not even talking about God Aden. We're talking about just ancient Israel. So that was the name. But then, as time went on, and things kept getting worse, and consciousness kept getting diminished. So using that name nowadays would be like being a poser.
Yeah.
Understand? It doesn't match our reality. Okay? Our reality is that of the name Adonai, which is a whole separate topic. We don't like to talk about it. Okay, but just getting back to this Yud Hey Vav Hey connection to 8, right?
Yeah.
Yud Hey Vav Hey is 26, right?
Yeah.
That's the gematria, and it has a mispar katan of 8.
Yeah.
Right? 2 plus 6. That's 8.
Yeah.
Right? So you have all these incredible connections. I'm going to try to skip some of the heavy math. Okay. All right.
I can barely hear you. It sounds like you're like 20 feet away from your phone.
How's that?
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay. So there are some unique properties of the number 8, which, again, guys, Hebrew letters are at least as much numbers as they are letters. It's possible that they might even be more number in their character than they are actual letter. We could talk about so that the numbers and the letters are always interchangeable. 8 is het. Het is 8. Okay?
Yeah.
Yud Hey Vav Hey, the tetragrammaton, is 26. 26 is these are same. These are synonymous. Okay. So there are some very unique mathematical properties of the number 8, and they have a direct connection to the name, to the tetragrammaton, to the Yud Hey Vav Hey. Okay? So again, which is 26. So famous rabbi who's known as the Shlach. Shlach HaKodesh.
Shlach HaKodesh.
Yeah. So he explains that the numerical values created in the generative process of God's name produce a mathematical series that begins with the number 1 and ends with the number 8 in the following manner. I'll just do this one. It's not that extensive. So, okay, I need you to picture Yud Hey Vav Hey.
Yes.
So we're gonna do the generative value. So we start with the Yud. Okay, so the Yud equals 10. All right, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have Yud Hey, right? That's the next step. So that equals 15, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5.
Yeah.
And then we have Yud Hey Vav, which is 21, but it equals 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6.
Yeah.
Okay? And then you have the complete name, Yud Hey Vav Hey, which equals 26, but it's 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have this, like if you could see it on the graph, the way it's very kind of like triangular type of like pattern that emerges, and it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So there's a connection. So Yud Hey Vav Hey creates a connection between 1 and 8. Okay? Yud Hey Vav Hey, which represents God's name. God is a unity. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the 1 part. And then you have the 8 part, right? Which represents infinity, by the way. I don't think we talked about that. You know, like the symbol we have in English for the number 8?
Yeah.
It's the infinity symbol, right?
I told you the whole story with me in math class, in calculus class.
The figure 8.
No, not the figure eight. The infinity sign. The whole thing of like.
Well, I know.
Anyway.
I said infinity symbol, but I meant
Okay.
to say the figure eight, which is an
Okay.
infinity symbol.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
It's
how?
also
Yeah.
it's also kind of like related to the Mobius strip, but we're not going to talk about that now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the number 8 has to do with infinity, primarily because the number 7, God designated that as the number of creation, right? So the number of God's created world,
Yeah.
the number which represents it is 7, because he created the world. He finished it in 7 days, right? Finished it in 6 days, and then 7th day he rested. That's part of the creation process. Okay? So that represents the world, and it represents a finite creation. So since 8 is one above this, that's already stepping into infinity. You're stepping into something that's not really part of the creation, but rather you are already stepping into the zone of the creator.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we can talk about. So, so the higher the multiple, okay, let me see if I can, there's a lot more, like, really fantastic mathematical graphs here that it's very difficult to express non-visually. So I'm going to skip that. You're welcome. And, so 1 second. Sparkatan, the unique feature of the numbers 8 and 26 is alluded to in a verse. There are unique features to the number 8 and number 26, which are alluded to in the following verse, where it says, "It is you alone, God." Okay, which in Hebrew is Atahu Hashem Levadecha, and then it continues. That's not the whole verse, right? And that is actually from Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 6. I wouldn't even know how to translate that into English. Nehemiah, what is that? Nehemiah, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean.
Whatever, Nehemiah. It's one of the books of Tanakh.
I know Nehemiah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the numerical value of the word atah, which that's the beginning of this verse, atah, you, right?
Yeah.
Actually, atah. I'm sorry. Of the words atahu, the first 2 words of the verse are atahu.
Yeah.
Right? You are, okay? And that equals 418 in gematria, which is the same as the spelling of the letter het. Remember, het is spelled het, yud, and tav.
Yeah.
That's 418.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you are, okay, it's 418, and which are the first 2 words of this verse, and then the name of the letter het is 418. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next word in this verse is God's name. It's 26, because the verse goes like this: Atahu Hashem, Atahu Yud He Vav. Okay. So that's Hashem's name. Okay. Turning the page. And we know that the numerical value is 26. Okay. So the last word in this phrase is Levadecha, which means alone, right?
Yeah, levad. Alone.
Well, Levadcha or Levadecha.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it means you are alone. It alludes to the fact that only these 2 numbers, 8 and 26, possess the unique features of the Mispar Katan, decreasing as the corresponding multiples increase. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as stated earlier, the letter het can be formed by joining 2 Zions together, right?
Yeah.
Normally, each individual Zion is adorned by 3 crowns. You know, the Tagin.
Yeah.
You picture that?
Yes.
Okay. And these crowns are known as Tagin. You'd have to see in a Torah scroll. Okay, that's the only place you're really going to see them. Now, however, when they are joined together to form the letter het, they do not have these crowns. Okay. This is because when 2 adorned letters join to compose one of a higher value, they lose their crowns, thereby displaying humility. Okay. This humility is reinforced by the fact that as the progression of the multiples of the number 8 increases, the resultant Mispar Katan decreases as enumerated above. Okay, so now, so there are correlations between representations of het, or the number 8. Okay, so how do you say 8 in Hebrew, by the way?
8? Shmone.
Shmoneh, right, that's the word for 8. Okay, so the only other number that forms a similar pattern in the final Mispar Katan of the multiples is the number 55. Okay, so this number also represents the unique bond between Hashem and the Jewish people. Okay, so the Maharal of Prague, he gives the following explanation. He says, the number sequence begins with units and it progresses to tens and then to hundreds. When the numbers belonging to the units progress into the higher section of tens, or the numbers in the tens progress to the hundreds, they can be paired off together as follows.
Yeah.
This is too complicated.
Yes.
It's too complicated to deliver in
Yes.
speech. Oh, man. Okay. Man, I got to set up this thing. You know, that thing with the whiteboard?
Yeah,
Like,
we
it's
should.
kind of like,
You should.
I'm going to do this. You're going to help me out with this.
Yeah.
For the folks at home, so they don't have to suffer. Okay, okay, so let me see. I'm gonna
Dude, you understand that this teaching is the modality of this teaching has to be visual. You know.
This particular. Okay, so I'm leaping ahead. Okay, so guys, I know there's a lot of impressive math here. Okay, that's all I can say. Okay, you'd have to see it, or you could just read the book. It's called Understanding the Aleph
Do you know what I'm more engaged in when talking about Hebrew letters?
Yeah.
When getting into the philosophical aspects of the concept behind the letter itself, as opposed to only the gematria.
Right, but the thing is that as we're going through the gematria, there are philosophical ideas attached to them. That's the point.
For sure. But like, it just seems like we're wading. You have to wade through so much gematria. It's like walking in a swamp.
Well,
Lahavdil.
I mean, it's not. It's just maybe listening to it and not seeing it, you know, visually is a thing. But the whole point of these gematrias, the whole point that this was God encoded this information in the following way.
No, that I get.
To show that, what is it?
No, I get that part. What you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's to show how precious and how important it is that this information, that he encoded it in such a fantastical way that, you know, it just to emphasize its importance. So the concepts, you know. So okay, so here we go. This is the final section of the letter het in this book. So the letter het is the acronym for Chaim, life. Okay. The human body is only brought to life when the neshama, which is the spiritual soul, enters the body. Okay? A physical body without a soul remains as dead as a stone. The letters of the word shmoneh spell out the word neshama, okay, which is the soul. So shmoneh again is number 8, and neshama, which is made up of the same letters that are included in the word shmoneh, means soul. Okay. So again, so shmoneh is spelled like this: shin, mem, vav, nun, and hey. Okay. The word neshama means spiritual soul. Is nun, shin, mem, hey. Okay. So it's the same letters that are included in the word shmoneh. Okay? There's an extra letter, the vav, in shmoneh that doesn't appear in the word neshama, but that's a separate thing. Okay, so alternatively, the word shmoneh can also be translated as to count, because it doesn't just mean the number 8. It could also be a word itself, which means to count. Okay, that's part of it. That's part of its definition. So on Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, entered the Holy of Holies to sprinkle the blood of the animal sacrifice, and he counted up to the number 8, as the Mishnah enumerates. It says, "Ehat Echat ve'ahat.
Yeah.
No, actually it goes echat ve'ahat, and then echat. Okay? And then it says, V'kach haya moneh. Moneh, right? That's a count.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, so here, I'm not going to say it in Hebrew. Here's the translation. It says, and this is how we counted 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6, and 1 and 7. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is a counting. Okay? And the word for counting is moneh. So the word shmoneh, which means 8, it can be translated as of counting, of the counting. Okay? So
Yeah.
that's what he ends off. Het in this book is a little bit of a strange section.
Yeah.
Okay, because so Greg, how can we connect the letter Het to Moshiach, aside from it being the last letter in the word Moshiach?
It's het, right? So it's closed, right? It's enclosed.
Right. It's not. It doesn't have that little opening that
so
K does.
so it basically represents something that's on the one hand it's complete, and it looks like a, if you look at it, it looks like a house. So it's like a bayit, and bayit is I guess for one, on a simple level, safe. It's also bayit, like habaita, like we get to go home, to Israel. But at the same time, on the it's open. It's not completely closed like a samach or a mem. And it's open, meaning the world. You have a bayit or the Beit Hamikdash, and it'll be a bayit for all peoples. It's open to all peoples. If that entire Nachla Ocean rant that I just gave over makes any sense to you, that you would hear you would hear at some kind of kumsitz on Thursday night, from Rabbi Shlomo Katz or something like that. So that's what I think about when I think about this letter. Just open. It has a completeness to it. And it's like the Beit HaMikdash, but at the same time, it's open to all nations. All nations who want to come to be with Hashem.
Right. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never saw it from that angle. I mean, It feels like there's some truth to that.
Mm.
But I heard some other stuff about this letter Het from other places. Okay, so there are 3 ways that are halakhically permitted to write this letter in a Torah scroll. Okay, So one of them is like what we talked about initially, where it's like 2 legs and like just a stick on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which looks almost like the pi symbol. Okay, and then so that's an acceptable way. Okay, that's kosher. If you see it in the Torah scroll, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
The other way is what was mentioned in this book, which is 2 letter Zions next to each other. Okay?
Yeah.
Which represent, Zion is 7, okay? And 7 represents the cycle of 7. And in ancient Israel, we call that a Shemitah, meaning you work the land for 6 years, and on the 7th year, you let it rest. So that's called a Shemitah, a 7-year cycle, okay? When you have 7 of these 7-year cycles, right? The following year after 7 of these 7 cycles is called the Jubilee year. Okay?
Yeah.
So this 7 times 7 idea, right, is related to this Jubilee, this cyclical pattern. Okay? And the Jubilee year is the year of freedom, it's the year of salvation, it's an auspicious year for Moshiach to come. And it says, actually, there's a prophecy saying that in the end of days, that Moshiach will come. His coming will be associated with a Jubilee year, with a Yovel year, which I think next year is the Yovel. It's possible. Okay, So that's the idea of the letter Het being written as two Zions that are connected by a little canopy. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the third way that it is halachically acceptable to see a letter Het portrayed in the Torah scroll is by having a Vav and a Zion next to each other with the same little canopy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now each one of these ways of writing the letter Het has a reason for it. It's not a legal dispute as to how to write it correctly. Each one is correct in its context.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I really like the last one that I mentioned with the Vav and the Zion next to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, because that right there represents the completion of creation. Because remember, God created the world in 6 days, right? And on the seventh, He rested.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about, let's talk about it in Sfirot. So you have the lower 7 Sfirot, right?
Yeah.
They're called the emotional Sfirot. These are the Sfirot that we are rectifying. The last 6,000 years has been all about rectifying these Sfirot.
Yeah.
Okay? The top 3 Sfirot, they don't need rectification. They were never shattered.
Yeah.
But the lower 7 were.
Yeah.
Okay? So from Chesed, so Chesed, Gevura, Netzach. I'm sorry, Chesed, I apologize. Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Chod, Yesod. Okay? Those are the 6 Sfirot connected to Zer Anpin. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you have the seventh Sphira, right, from this, is Malchut.
Yeah.
Also known as Nukva.
Yeah.
So this is portrayed in the name Yud He Vav He. The last 2 letters of the name Yud He Vav He, right? The Vav, the Vav, which is the 6 letters, okay? The 6 Sfirot, and then the He, which represents Malchut, okay?
Yeah.
And it says that the way to bring Moshiach is to reattach the last He from God's name to the Vav.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one way of symbolizing the process of redemption. Okay, so similar idea is that so you have Vav,
yeah,
right? In the context of the letter Het, you have Vav, that's half of the letter, and that represents the Zer Anpin, right? The male part.
Yeah.
Okay, and remember the rectification is primarily based on the idea of unifying correctly the male and female aspect of existence. Right now, it's not in a state of balance. Okay, so the primary task of mankind is to rectify the male and the female aspects of creation. Okay, so what does the letter Het do? It takes the letter Vav, which is the male, okay, and then it marries it to the letter Zion, which is the 7th letter, and 7 represents Malchut, right?
Yeah.
Which is the female. And so you put a Vav and a Zion, you put the man and the woman next to each other, and there's a little canopy that connects them, like a chuppah.
Nice.
Okay, so the letter Het really is the culmination of what Mashiach accomplishes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mashiach has to put the finishing touches. He has to officiate the wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, between the male aspect and the female aspect of the universe, and even of these expressions of divinity that God portrays Himself as. Okay, as in Zer Anpin and Nukva, or the 6 emotional Sfirot. Okay, and the Shekhinah. Okay, Nukva is the Shekhinah. Nukva is Malchut. These are all synonymous terms with each other. Okay, so and then And then finally, the Zion, it means Shabbos, right? 7. So Shabbos, again, is also related to this final kind of like rectified manifestation of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence.
Yeah.
The Shekhinah is translated as the divine presence, okay? But it is a female type of expression, okay? So, and that was the actual expression that divinity was meant to be experienced in the completed universe. When we get to Shabbos world, right, which is finally, the Olam Haba, after the year 6000, that's already, we start something called, I call it Shabbos world. Okay?
Yeah.
And that would be, finally, we get to see the way that God always intended for us to experience him, which is actually in this kind of, with this female divine expression, which is called the Shekhinah, which is represented by the letter Zion.
Yeah.
And Adar, the month that we just entered, is really big on the letter Zion.
Yeah.
Because it's aside from the holiday of Purim, okay, there's another very, very big important day. It's Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday.
Humans
Moses' birthday. He was born on the 7th of Adar, Zion Adar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, in conclusion, how is this related to Mashiach? When you put the Vav, which represents the 6 emotional sphirot that need to be rectified, and you marry it to the 7th final sphera, which needs to be rectified, and you put them underneath a wedding canopy, so that's the Vav and the Zion next to each other. You put a little wedding canopy over them, and you get the letter Het.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that it makes sense to me why that would be the last letter in the word Mashiach.
Sorry.
What do you think?
I think it's awesome. There's just a lot of yelling. Can you just give me 1 second? I can't take it anymore. Let's continue.
Not an easy idea, this whole
Yeah.
analyzing the name Mashiach by its letters.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So how shall we approach what are we going to do next? What's the next idea about including Mashiach studies in our discussions?
Well,
between Odell.
we can do.
Actually, you know what? I have an idea. I don't know why.
The next thing is 46. So what can we?
46.
Next episode is 46.
46. We're gonna have to talk about the Nachash.
Oh wow! Yeah. Let's do that.
You know why?
Why?
Because, well, aside from the fact that the word Mashiach, the gematria of it is the same as the word Nachash.
Yeah.
Right?
I heard that.
Which is, he's like the anti-Mashiach, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's funny that 46, which is just kind of amazing. 46 is, it's related to Biden, right? He's supposedly fake president 26, right? 46.
Yeah.
Okay, who we've heard at least one rabbi that we respect think that Biden is the Nachash himself.
Yeah.
Rabbi Weisberg.
Yeah.
It is very beautiful the way things are. We didn't plan this, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out. Listen, Rabbi Weisberg said, that clearly we see that Hashem wanted both Trump at the time that he wanted him, and then to not be there for a certain amount of time, even though there are a lot of people who believe in this thing called devolution,
right.
that Trump is basically
devolved pagan.
No, that Trump is biding his time, and apparently there's going to be some big reveal of something, and he's just letting the Nachash, the one you call Nachash, play house for a while.
He's giving him the slack to hang himself.
Yeah, they're giving the door to hang himself and show the people that these people are an unmitigated disaster. So I guess that makes sense. I don't know, but I'm not holding my breath for this moment.
Yeah, I don't need it to happen the way, that whole narrative. I just let Moshiach show up.
Like
He can show up any way he wants, just as long as he shows up.
Yeah, like Moshiach showed up and let the people finally wake up to what they did wrong, and hopefully not too much damage is done. And I hope that guy's prediction of 30 million doesn't come to fruition.
It doesn't have to. As we know, like all the negative prophecies, right?
Yeah.
I'm not comparing this guy's words to prophecies, but all the negative prophecies that we have don't have to occur. They don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They can either not occur or they can occur in a mitigated way.
Yeah.
Okay. But the good prophecies, they absolutely have to occur.
Yeah.
So let's leave it at that.
All right, sir. It's been real once again.
Got to make an addendum to Yud.
We will. This is 3 hours 40 minutes, so this is good in and of itself.
Listen. This is for the diehards. And then the rest we'll break it up into nice little easy chewable pieces, like for little babies.
Yes.
Who can't handle the truth.
You baby. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Yeah. That's right.
He's right. It's true. But, we don't want Fauci on that wall. Sorry.
No, Fauci is not.
We probably want to hang him on the wall.
No, Fauci is the guy that you need. That's because you didn't have somebody on that wall.
Yeah.
That's how Fauci got through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fauci.
God.
Grouchy.
I don't know. I think he's just going to be he's going to end up being the fall guy for people much worse than him. That's the thing about the whole scenario. Whatever. At this point, it's just whatever.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you got to talk. Listen. Did you ask? We got to try to get Rabbi Weiss.
No. Yeah, I'm going to try to get him on. Yeah, sorry. I need to follow up about that.
Yeah, just ask your buddy.
Yeah.
All right, cool beans then.
All right, sir. Awesome.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Bye.